Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity, a show about weirdos. With your hosts, John Fahey, Aaron Peter, and Matt Rousseau.
Hello, folks. Welcome to Profiles in Eccentricity. It's a show about weirdos, doggone it. My name is John Fahey. John Boy. COVID kid. COVID barely 18. And it's John Boy time. Joining me as ever, high-functioning pervert. 3 children stacked on top of each other in a trench coat. Each child, of course, shredded, ripped, muscular, huge cocks. Trying to sneak into a porno. Porno theater. Aaron Joseph Peter.
Yeah, also a gardening enthusiast.
Big time.
Gym rat, couch potato.
Mm-hmm.
Gym rat, couch potato.
Slash. Gym rat slash couch potato. Also slash.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
To your right, my left, handsome Matt Rousseau.
Hi, hello.
Frenchman henchman.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Fellas, real good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Matt, you're going to regale us, I believe?
Mm-hmm.
How about you gale us first, and then you can regale us?
Mm-hmm. Wind's blowing up a gale today. We got to handle the pee-pee business first, of course.
Always a pee-pee business for that.
So we have, of course, the wonderful Mensinger family in Florissant, Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
And sounds French.
Missouri.
And so Carrie makes beer with Kyle P. Pfluger. I believe it's pronounced Pfluger, but the P is never silent in this house.
No. P will be heard.
And so they gave us these 6 beers that they made labels for. Now, this is Saison de Pisse.
And you see the rich golden
The
waves.
cascading urine in it, on the label here.
Amber waves of urine.
So I was just, we got it and we were like blown away by that. And
Take a closer look.
then, I took a closer look and I looked on the other side of the label and I saw that it is Drinkos Brewing Company. And now that was like
That's because you like the taste.
I was like, Aaron, get back in here. Look. And then he leaves.
back.
Then
Morpheus is fighting Neo.
he leaves again. And I was like, Aaron, wait, come back. I found something else. Because down at the bottom it says 7.0% ABV. And then underneath it says, and that's Bavarian.
Oh, I lost it.
Yeah,
When you said that, shit almost fell down the stairs.
I know, that was too much.
Oh, God. It's really... now, you said they sent 6.
That's right, but we only have 3.
We only have 3.
Now, they all made it here intact.
Oh, yeah. And I just put them right in the mini fridge.
Yeah, but what happened?
Well, you and I and Katie went out. We had with some German beer, some Deutsches Bier.
Mm-hmm. That's Besta.
At the Red Lion Tavern, and tied a few on, and came back to the house, and John started just tucking into them.
I did.
I woke up the next morning.
That sounds
3
right.
bottles of urine beer.
Yeah.
Of Saison de Pisse out there. And so I just asked John right now before the show, I said, John, how were they?
Yeah.
And he just goes,
I have no idea because I was on one. I was drinking all day.
Yeah.
I got the day off and then I was in a bad place. So I was drinking all day and then I felt really bad. But now we cracked them open again, Carrie and Kyle. So thank you.
Oh, look at the foam. It's just like real piss.
This is great. Thank you. Thank you.
It runneth over.
This is a very, very good saison.
It's so frothy.
Ugh. Oh, that's nice.
Very nice.
Now, what does saison mean? I don't even know what that means. Is it?
Nobody knows.
Okay.
Can't tell you. Don't even know where to begin.
It's very, very tasty, guys.
Oh, there's a lot of
Hints
complexity.
Hints of urine and
Hints.
Whose urine is it? And that's really what sets it apart.
I think it's a real tasty time.
7%.
Yeah.
And of course, that's my
It
volume.
is just a type of highly carbonated Belgian pale ale, typically having a fruity or spicy flavor. You get the spice?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
the
and
fruit.
that's nice.
The spice is nice.
So it's not unlike my My delirium.
Right.
Delirium
Here,
tremens.
which is a Belgian ale.
Mhm.
Not pale, Belgian ale. This is nice and strong and fruity and flavorful as well. I really like
Strong.
Quite a bouquet. That sounds good.
this. Oh, it's even better on the way up.
Mm-hmm.
Nice pee burp.
Yeah.
A perp.
Perp. The perp walked. We didn't have enough evidence on it. We've just been talking
A
about
whole lot of perp.
Ice-T's fucking like shit and like SVU were like he just sounds like the least likely guy to be in this scenario at all.
The assailant.
Yeah.
The assailant perpetrated a heinous crime upon the victim.
He's always got some trying to be cynical shit where he's like, this is when the killer really got upset. It's like I think he was
You
always
can see he lost his cool here by
Yeah.
the bite marks in the sofa.
He wasn't done quite just yet.
Like he's narrating it for the audience.
If I might get into the mind of a psychopath, if I may,
Then he
bear
went
with me for a
yeah.
moment.
He went into the nursery, started pitching kids out the window.
There was no
inappropriate,
picture.
to say the least.
These kids didn't have wings.
Do you know any wings?
Love take me down.
Yeah, that's it. Knife.
That's not anybody. Nobody sings that.
That's really good. Thank you to the men
Yes.
singer.
The Men's Swinger Club.
Oh God, and the harp pipe hitting.
Yeah, Carrie got all dressed up in like a little boy suit because she was a groomswoman at Kyle's wedding.
I love that.
So congratulations to Kyle. Very
Congrats.
very glad you guys are with us. This is a real treat for us.
This is good.
Cannot tell you how touched we are by these things. Chris too with the fucking stickers, man. It happened like in the same week.
Oh, the per OSHA requirement.
Yes.
is hand lower each turd into the porta potty.
Yes. Turds must be hand lowered in to avoid splashback.
Yeah,
It's a good rule.
I mean, you
It's a
don't
good
want to
rule.
get the splashback, and you don't want to get any sort of flack from OSHA.
Lowered in by hand is just insane.
What's cesspool in there? And then I think they also sent us a couple comic books.
Yes, we got some comic books
Middle
from
West?
from Brennan. 3 volumes of that. So we'll pass that amongst each other.
Very nice.
You know, pass around. Very nice.
Goes around.
Please do follow us on the Profiles in Eccentricity Instagram.
Yeah.
PP Podcast
yes.
on Twitter.
Patreon.
Patreon, $5 a month, extra show a week. Hey, you know what I was talking about on the last Patreon?
No.
I said to Matt, I was telling him something that really makes me happy. Just imagine like a really, 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 really fat guy, okay? Like chins,
Yeah.
roll, like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and just looking really scared.
Just out of nowhere. Just suddenly.
That's just, you know what I mean? That makes me really
So
happy.
you like Paul Bearer?
Yeah, I hated the voice of Paul Bearer.
Dude, Paul Bearer
The
looks
chin
like
shaking. like-
Sven Gooley
Oh,
got
God.
diabetes. Oh God, Paul Bearer used to freak me the fuck out.
Yeah, but he was like eerie. He didn't look scared. He looked
No, but sometimes he'd be
scary.
Whoa.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you know, if the fucking if the Undertaker would like turn on him, or if, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Coco Beware unleashed his parrot or something.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd be scared too.
Yeah, you beware. Yeah,
Mhm.
I'll be sure you beware.
Coco Beware. What do you got? My thing's a parrot.
All right, check.
This guy's got a snake, so watch out. I got a snake,
In
man.
fact, he is a snake.
No, he does yoga.
We got a junkyard dog.
Yeah.
I think
We got a British bulldog.
I think we're ready to get into some profiling.
Hell yeah, man! I drink
Okay.
those pee-pee because I like the taste.
You wanna jump right in or what?
Let's do it.
Let's do it, man.
Fine, man. Go ahead.
So this one, I was telling you guys, reminds me of the Shipwreck Kelly one. You know, the guy who would sit on poles.
Yeah.
It's kind of like,
Yeah.
yeah. And then he later died.
Go all the way to the bottom.
Yeah.
Flag pole sitter.
So I want to give a brief kind of history lead into why this guy became famous.
Break it down.
And so, I mean, basically, quick version, when we started building cities and building walls and removing ourselves from nature, it almost very quickly as these places became civilized, there was already people saying, "Oh, we've lost touch with nature.
We're fucked."
These people were breaking the social contract. They were Rousseau's noble savage, if you will,
Got to return to the land.
from whence you came.
Even in the 2nd century of Lebanon and Iraq, there are pictures of what is essentially like the Ent from Lord of the Rings. It is a human that is made out of nature.
The giant tree man.
A tree man, in essence. And
Swamp Thing.
Yeah, a green man.
Yes, the Green Man.
Green.
Yeah. Are you getting into that kind of mythology?
I'm deep into it.
Oh,
No, I don't. No.
There's a lot there with the Green Man and the Green Knight.
Yes. Sir Gawain, too. What a problem he had.
Yes, Sir Gawain, the Green Knight. Hey, of the Arthurian mythology.
Yes. Yeah, he had a whole summer.
We'll tell you later, John.
Oh, Sir G. Wayne. Guesting on my track is Sir G. Wayne.
Yeah.
Sorry, the AC kicked off and I was scared.
Oh!
But so it is, these guys are, even as society is growing, people, even back then when it was not even anywhere near where we are today, people already lamenting that they're removed from nature.
Oi! The lament. Hey! These cities.
I miss the wolves.
Yeah.
In the 18th century in England, lords of country estates would pay people to live on the estate as a fake hermit. And they would be like,
A fake hermit.
yeah, they'd be like, okay, you're going to have like a lean-to, and then people are going to come by and look at you and be like, look at this man living in nothing.
To what end?
Just so there was like someone with a really, really long beard, and they're like, wow.
Oh, they thought it was cutesy.
Yeah.
Folksy.
Yeah.
See how he lives. The hermit of my estate.
Yeah.
See his unwashed ass.
Forage for dingleberries. This is kind of just if you're interested in the history of cities and city planning and stuff, check out one of the Patreons Matt and I did. We talked about city planning and also Lovecraftian sex monsters.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, they kind of go hand in hand.
Green men.
Yeah. Yes. So maybe those countries, the lords may have been influenced, but certainly one of the big influences of what would become the back to nature movement would be Jean-Jacques Rousseau.
That's right.
Writing in the 18th century, he's writing about how the noble savage and the importance of vegetarianism. And in this Tristram Stewart book about him, he's quoted Rousseau in 1754. He writes, "The first man who, having fenced in a piece of land, said, 'This is mine,' and found people naive enough to believe him, that man was the true founder of civil society." He says, "Beware of listening to this impostor. You are undone if you once forget the fruits of the earth belong to all of us and the earth itself to nobody." And then he would put like a ton of tits in his books.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, the fruits.
Yeah.
Peaches.
It was actually nipple savage. But,
These
translation.
volumes are full of tasty peaches.
No, just tits. Because one of his arguments was, and I'm paraphrasing, that humans are meant to be vegetarians because women have fewer breasts than animals, and therefore
What animals?
animals.
Apes have 2 tits.
Yeah, well, they should eat more vegetables, I guess.
What about the kangaroo?
Anyway,
They have no tits.
but because of his
the
thinking about vegetarianism and breasts, French courtesans would have their pictures painted wearing straw hats and like one tit out. It was like the style at the time.
Yeah. You don't want to give up the goods.
Right.
You
But
know,
saying,
you gotta
hey,
keep something in the imagination.
Right.
Yeah.
Half
They're
nature.
courtesans, not
Half-
boors.
Yes.
It was a whole smoke show. They only took the good titty out.
This is for nature and that one's for nurture.
The one beneath the robe was beat to death and busted.
Because it was a young child was suckling on it. Ate the shit to smithereens. It was the nipple destruction.
Nipple damage. Kudos on the nipple damage.
Kudos.
Yeah, kudos. Kudos, Rousseau. Please.
1811 in England, John Frank Newton publishes his book, Return to Nature. It's about vegetarianism and nudism. And it's kind of how he has his vegetarian diet, and he's talking about, hey, it worked for me and my family, and he goes deep into it's like getting back into nature. And he befriends Percy Bysshe Shelley, who would then himself become a vegetarian and write A Vindication of Natural Diet. And Shelley was so taken with nature that right near the end of his life, he would fill his lungs completely with water.
Jesus fucking Christ.
I mean, that's natural.
Yeah, well, he was drowning, and that's how he died.
Oh, I thought it was okay.
He went right back to nature.
Yeah.
As we all do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Unless, you get shot into space, which is also nature.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, most of the planet's water, so
Keep it in the family.
Most of Shelley was then, too.
yeah.
Most of us, yeah.
And then he had a pyre on the beach, and Byron saved his heart because it wouldn't burn.
No.
Yeah. And then eventually they buried it with his body. The monster in Frankenstein, or Frankenstein's monster,
That's right.
he was a vegetarian. He's the most enlightened person in that book.
That's right.
What?
Mhm.
Yeah.
What the fuck did he eat?
Like
Beets.
nuts and berries.
Yeah.
Get some fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Pussy. He ate a lot of
Oh,
pussy. He was
ass.
mad fucking woke, dude.
I eat the pussy. I eat the ass. I eat
Yeah.
every damn thing.
Spit the cum out, though.
Oh,
Animal product.
Nice.
In 1836 in America, influenced by the romantics of Shelley and also with the idea of Hindu selfhood, Ralph Waldo Emerson publishes his 95-page essay, Nature.
Yep.
Wait. Hindu selfhood?
Yeah, so
Talk to me about that.
I don't know that much about it. I looked it up last night and then I've forgotten some of it.
We
But
can-
there's a book of one of the sacred texts of Hindu
Yeah, what, the Vedas?
is about being in the moment. It's not, I don't remember the specifics, but it's this
Well, also
idea
the
of-
idea that, you're going to come back as a fucking cow one day.
Sure. There's probably
But
some
don't eat
certainly
the
there.
fucking thing because it could be your aunt or uncle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
But anyway, so influenced by those things, Emerson writes Nature, and he writes that man has built a world that distracts them from beauty, the natural world, and in return, man does not reciprocate that giving. So by ignoring nature, we are actually ignoring beauty and not
Yeah.
not making things as beautiful as they could be.
Yes, there seems to be quite a bit of thinking about this sort of thing. I was telling Aaron I watched that fantastic fungi documentary last night, and the whole thing was just talking about how like it's all about just like people will do mushrooms and it basically like feel like mycelium is telling them like, listen,
Yeah.
when you die, I'm just gonna take you over, and then you're gonna become other shit. So like, they're saying like your actual attitude about death is almost seemingly spoken to you by
Okay.
plants,
Oh, that's interesting.
No, they're not plants.
not plants. But yeah, nature,
Yeah.
shall we say?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's there's a lot to that. A lot of stuff that I don't know. There's degrees of. Do I believe in it or not? But like just like
It's a useful metaphor at the very least.
yeah,
Yes,
but things like people believe in the grounding, bare feet on the earth, shit like that.
It's a great way to cure jet lag.
Is that right?
Uh-huh.
Huh.
Bare feet walking in grass.
Wow.
So is Coke,
But you heard it here first, folks.
which is
All
was a
natural.
plant.
Coke.
One sounds cheaper.
But I mean, it's all like the thing is like everything's natural. Everything that we do is natural. Is it conducive to our well-being? No, but like
Right,
an
right.
anthill or a beehive is their version of building shit.
Mhm.
It serves a purpose.
Yeah.
It fucks with the tree that it's in
Yeah.
or the ground that they're on, but we just have that times a million, billion degrees of complexity and destruction.
Sure.
Yes.
It's all part of what our game that we play. It's definitely not conducive to our well-being, but it is one of the things we do
Mhm.
within a certain context.
Yeah. But
Don't want to get too deep into that right now.
so Emerson, in writing this essay, he has basically set the especially in America the baseline of this creation of transcendentalism, which is this belief in the divinity of the now rather than this distant shores of heaven.
right now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and sometimes that means nature is immediate.
Is that why you were singing that the other night?
It probably is.
No.
Yeah.
You were singing fucking Van Halen?
Yeah, there's no tomorrow.
Dude, there is no tomorrow.
Come on,
There's only the moment.
it means everything. Anyway,
Dude, I love it.
so Friday.
Van Hagar. Which is cool, too.
Isn't that one Van Hagar, though?
Yeah,
right
I
now?
think it is.
No.
Maybe it's not.
Doesn't sound like
it is.
David. It doesn't
Right.
sound like something.
It does not
Roth
sound
would
like
say.
David Lee Roth. I think it is Hagar.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Takes all kinds, I guess.
stand
So
corrected.
much like Roth to Hagar. No, it doesn't make sense. Anyway, so Henry David Thoreau was friends. He'd be like a protege almost of Emerson,
Yes.
and he would write Walden, aka Life in the Woods, about his 2 years of living in a cabin
Very interesting stuff.
on Emerson's lot.
No shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was another Emerson's lot.
Yeah, and he was just like he was removed from society, but also he was like a half-hour walk to a town. So,
He was the hermit living
Yeah.
on the guy's estate.
yes, exactly.
Leech.
You must be hungry for dingleberries.
I've been fermenting some since 8 years ago. Here, have some dingleberry kombucha.
You don't live in one of them cities, do you? You're animals. Ass wipers.
I keep my dingleberries in this beehive. Come reach in with me. It's been keeping secret.
In 1841, then in America, J.B. Jones publishes Wild Western Scenes. This book has these lurid fictional tales of Daniel Boone, and Daniel Boone, the guy who moved out of Kentucky because he saw a chimney in the distance from his house, and he said it's getting too crowded around here.
Fuck this.
And
That's why it's the boonies, right?
it might be, yeah.
I don't fucking know. Right in.
And
Do the work for me.
Yeah.
And so, this book takes off. These Wild West stories start taking off. And as the United States grows, the frontier shrinks. And as the frontier shrinks, the fictional characters grow.
Yeah.
And so then by 1890, the U.S. Census has concluded that the U.S. no longer has a frontier, and it doesn't list the frontier anymore in the census. It's like the frontier is officially over in the U.S. Census in 1890.
Canceled.
Yeah. They used to draw a frontier line.
Yeah.
And it started in the middle of Maine, in the middle of the Maine coast, down through the middle of New York, and then through Virginia and Georgia. So
Wow.
So you just imagine, and it
We're going to keep going.
and this was only wilderness to this is a very white
To the people who are
settler
making that map.
narrative. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're in Cleveland. It's nuts.
Nothing noble about these savages. They're uncut, for Christ's sake. What do you expect us to do?
So now,
Genocide is the only solution.
oh. So now, given the mentality of
I'm getting to
transcendentalism,
their mentality. I don't believe it.
you're
What
right.
happened?
You're right. You're right.
Thank you. I love it.
But so given this, transcendentalism is growing, and it's not that everybody's preaching it, but in order for it to become as popular as it did, you have to imagine that people are open to this idea.
Yeah.
And
We got to get
David
back
Lynch?
to the land as long as it's only us on it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What a bunch of backwards ass bullshit.
Well, yeah. So as that's happening, and as the frontier is shrinking, I think if you combine those two things, I think it's a very easy explanation for why in 1893 Buffalo Bill's Wild West show is making $1 million a year. It's about $30 million today.
They're already romanticizing.
Yeah.
What year were you saying that was?
1893. And,
Okay.
and they've been doing it for maybe 15 years before
So it's
that,
kind of
maybe 20
like
years before
us
that.
now and talking about, the 50s.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man, remember when things were so great in the 50s?
Yes, yeah. The time lapse.
Goose in the
Yes.
pot and the
Yeah.
two and that, it's
Sure.
that 30-year nostalgia.
Back when we had a struggle.
And then everything was great after.
Yeah, well, no, the 50s actually a lack thereof, right?
Right.
But I think in the case of the frontier mythology, they'd be like, oh, this is when we really lived, is when,
Yeah, it's all bullshit.
Yeah, everything was always better.
Nostalgia's toxic. We learned that from Watchmen. We don't want to be Pollyannish. That's a good one too. My dad always said that. Pollyannish.
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah.
He threw that around a lot?
Oh yeah, specifically about me.
What were you nostalgic
I don't
for?
know, Pollyannish, like, well, he was wrong, but
What's Pollyannish?
being Pollyannish is kind of like nostalgia, but about any subject, about like, nostalgia is looking at the past through rose-colored glasses, right? And Pollyannish is kind of like being naively optimistic or
So
positive.
romanticizing things.
Yeah, to a bit, to a degree.
It's a more negative way of saying that, I suppose.
Yeah, or calling me an F word or something like that.
Yeah.
Pretty funny.
So, also around the late 1800s, things like the Audubon Society start being created.
Oh, Autobahn?
And,
No.
and,
John James.
and other nature groups. And
John Muir.
John Muir was, he was part of, he was basically a transcendentalist himself. And Scottish.
Oh, boy.
And
Scotch.
We've got to get back to the bog, mate.
You've got to take a nap on this fucking glacier.
I'll tell you, if you don't have a layer of scum on you, fella, you're not doing it right.
which reminds me, my friend Ross said he's really appreciated having the show. Thanks, Ross. I want to say that. That's what reminded me of that.
You appreciate the show exists?
Yeah, he said I had a drink with him yesterday, and
You got them all liquored up.
got him all liquored up.
Nice.
So
Oh yeah.
So as these fake Wild West shows grow and the popularity of these things grow, and this idea of getting back to nature grows, along with this also grows nature fakers. People writing stories about like,
Astroturfing.
I lived out in the woods and I saw a bobcat and he waved at me. And just like
He waved. Oh, dude, this is great. I love fake shit. Fake people are the best.
And so guys like John Burroughs and Teddy Roosevelt, like, we're just being like, this is all phony bullshit. You guys are fakers. This isn't what happens in the wilderness. And so then there became the backlash to the faker, like the uber romantics.
Yeah. That kind of sounds like fucking homeboy I just did the profile on doing the movies later on in his life about the spiritualists and debunking them, right? There was just the thing of, here's a movement, here's the fucking people just shitting on it, right?
Right.
But also there's something to be said for Teddy Roosevelt was the first person making national parks and
Right.
preserves of nature and stuff like that. I think I just saw a thing on Devil's Tower being the first.
Oh, from the motion picture
Close Encounters.
of the Third Kind.
Yeah, which I am long overdue for a rewatch of.
Yeah.
But that was, I think, like our first like national fucking like preserved.
No
like,
shit.
Yeah, it was something where like he saw it and he was just
Is
like,
that Wyoming?
I believe it's Wyoming. Yes.
Well, I guess we'll never know.
Yeah,
I think it's Wyoming.
I believe it's Wyoming, and I think it's like more volcanic rock than anything surrounding.
Uh-huh.
And it is like a perfect,
It's flat topped.
You're familiar with Devil's? Yeah. Okay. So, but anyway.
Yeah, it's because Richard Dreyfuss fucking smashed the clay when he got mad, and that's how it got.
Oh, right. But like
Checks out. I'm Richard Dreyfuss.
It's something that to Teddy Roosevelt.
It's a lot. It's some foresight, like because even today, everyone's chomping at the bit for more natural resources, right? When I say everyone, I mean certain people.
Yeah.
And like, just fucking drill it, and cut it down, slash and burn it. I mean, maybe don't.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah, I mean,
Let's leave some things just there to be enjoyed for like, you don't even like not everything has to be motivated by profit. And listen, I love profit.
Yeah.
I love profit.
But also, it goes back to that thing too of like
this is our shit, and we don't fuck with it.
Yeah, and just also like maybe the planet is doing something cool with it that you don't know about because it's gonna happen millions of years later.
Yeah.
But Roosevelt, I think, was motivated by a lot of that romanticism.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you know,
Yeah, but he also lived it too, right? There's like a difference between lived romanticism and idealized theoretical.
well, there's acting out on idealized theoretical stuff, and that was kind of what he did. There was a lot of shit.
he was a rich dude, and he went out there and cowboyed it.
And he would have got shot, but he didn't.
Yeah.
But, like, other people did.
Right.
So, like...
It's kind of like that you were talking about, you know, the adventurers.
Yes.
And, you know, it is, you know, on one end, you're an adventurer if you're rich.
Mm-hmm.
If you're poor, you're just an explorer or something, you know? There's a difference. And...
well, yeah, showing up with, let's say, weight, even if it's far away, is just a different matter. Yeah. So, you know, her showing up with some kind of aristocratic, you know, thing in, you know, that was... People were like, oh, okay, do whatever. But, like, if you're just someone...
Just out there, yeah.
Oh, my God. It'd be a fucking nightmare. And
but either way, they did do it. And you can understand that, like, you know...
But I
they
think
saw something special and, like... Oh,
a lot of it was for that romanticism and also, you know, his... particularly Roosevelt's inferiority complex about being protected from having to go to war.
Yeah.
And that made him, like, overcompensate. And then that made his kids
and
overcompensate.
grandkids, and then one of them got really fucked up.
Yeah.
He died.
Yeah, and they're like, no, enough of this war thing with our family.
Well, it just wasn't, you know, fucking...
War changed.
Yeah, it wasn't the cavalry anymore. It was fucking...
Machine guns.
Yeah, and just a death slaughter machine.
Yeah.
Like...
And so that brings us all...
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
But I think just to put a coda to this is that the romanticism isn't all bad.
Right. Yes.
But...
It can be.
It
also,
can, yes.
So, with from transcendentalism to these Wild West shows, the Audubon Society, the nature of fakers. So that brings us all to what will be our main character, the nature man.
The nature boy.
The nature man.
Flair.
The nature man. The nature man.
Watch.
Joseph Knowles.
Joseph Knowles. Related to Beyonce?
You'll find out right after this.
We'll be right back, folks. And we're back.
Hey, well.
Now, I understand it's nature time.
Yeah, John.
It's time to get back to the land.
Uh-huh.
Simpler time.
Uh-huh.
Time to leave the city.
Remove all of our clothes, all of our inhibitions,
Uh-huh.
any sense of right or wrong,
You said it.
gay, straight.
Hard. Soft?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
You'll find out.
Guy, gal.
Zim Zer.
Out here on the plains, we say gender's gay.
That's right. To me, everything's just a wet hole.
Yeah.
That's where we're from. Wet hole, Wyoming.
We all come from the green. The swamp.
That is.
I don't know.
Green gold.
What came
Swamp tea.
What came first? The goose or the log?
I'll tell you what came first.
My daddy taught.
John. On account of the log, which he goosed.
Tale as old as time. Now, Joseph Knowles was born sometime around 1869 in Wilton, Maine. Wilton, Maine is about a 23-hour walk north from Portland, Maine.
Dude, what? I love that. I don't get it, but I really do love it.
I think it's important for people to know where something is.
It's about a 23-hour walk as the crow flies.
Yes.
Like, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Nice. Now, is that using a back roads or direct routes or
I mean, largely today, you're using a lot of modern roads.
Yeah.
It might be longer back then.
then, it's probably a longer walk.
Oh, yeah.
Especially on account of them having shorter legs.
What about high-speed rail?
What is this, China?
What about railing speed? 12-hour walk.
As the crow flies.
As you can see, he collapsed here from the high rail speed.
This train's not on time. He missed his stop. Or no, wait. I might be doing
He missed his stop. But his heart didn't.
Then his friends ran a train on him.
Yeah. And I would have to say it was around hour 12 where the ringleader got tired. You could see that he was dragging its feet on the way to the toilet.
He knew something was wrong because his friend was obese and he looked scared.
Oh,
He
coming
looked like
together.
Paul Bareback.
Really just tying it together.
All right, let's go back to nature.
All right.
So, Wilton, Maine. Here's a not fun fact about Wilton, Maine.
Uh-oh.
Wilton, Maine was originally called Harrytown because the guy who founded the town was given the land in exchange for killing an Indian named Harry.
Wow.
And that's
His name is Harry.
America.
You got to take care of Harry first, though.
Yeah, you take care of Harry, and all this land is yours, and you can name the
Anderson's come
town.
right in.
I don't know.
Whatever.
I feel like Harry's all right, though. Well,
Uh,
I guess you don't want the town.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, a town is nice.
Town is nice.
Well, you know, it was a pretty decent town in the 1800s. They made
It was just one guy you had to kill?
yeah.
Well, I mean, why isn't this episode about Harry? I mean, one guy for the whole town is pretty nice.
Yeah,
He's
but
probably kind of the mayor.
Of Harry.
of Harrytown. That's right. It's a King of the Hill scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Must have been an important guy.
So Wilton.
Anyways, I guess we'll never know.
Wilton was a pretty not a cheap, not a poor town it's in the middle, like in the Maine woods, and they made boots and scythes, and
I love scythes.
they had this large deep pond where they made a lot of money selling ice to Europe.
Wow.
What?
So when it froze in the winter,
Uh-huh.
cut out the blocks.
So it was that big where they could,
Yeah.
and they'd ship it.
Yeah, they covered in sawdust, put it on a boat, send it to India.
It's insulative.
Yeah.
They cut it into T shape.
Yeah. Yeah. Guess where I got my name? Actually, they used to cut it into very slim slices.
Anything to use the lid.
They call it iceberg slim. We used to send it down to Virginia. They call it Virginia slims.
God.
So then she was attacked by a jackrabbit called Jackrabbit Slim. You do the math. L7.
So Knowles' father was kind of a broken man after serving in the Civil War and sickly,
What side?
the Maine side. And so his mother was the one who did everything. She picked berries and chopped and hauled wood into town to sell. She made them their clothes. She wove moccasins, and she taught her kids about, the woods.
Nature.
Yeah.
Nice.
But times were tough. When Joseph Knowles was growing up, he said cornbread was his constant companion. Cornbread was everything. When he would eat lunch, he would eat in the woods because he didn't want kids to see, kids with their, quote, dainty sandwiches, he called them, to see the
Noshing on this cornbread.
the cornbread.
Well, his dad's just staring at a wall, watching the saucer.
Yeah.
You got to see the TV, son. And he was picked on, though his dad did convince him to fight his bully one time, and it worked. Though the girls weren't happy because he had beaten up their pretty boy, but he realized that was a being tough was good. But he had to help his family. At age 10, he started hunting by himself, and then eventually he just started disappearing for days at a time. One time he was gone for 11 days straight. His family sent out a search party and eventually found him just
Full beard.
Trapping.
Foreskin.
Foreskin,
Yeah.
full beard,
Yeah, you
new
return to
foreskin.
nature.
Yeah.
I brought back a full basket of dingleberries. I foraged.
His name was Harry.
Dingle Harry. At age 19, he joins the U.S. Navy, or so he says. Became a merchant marine, traveled to Europe, Asia, Africa, the Americas. There's no record of him in the Navy, but again, it's the 18.
Yeah,
80s,
paperwork gets lost, man.
Dude, there's absurd absences.
The water got the paper got wet. Then no one saw that coming.
Yeah, like fucking. I was just watching a thing about like, those goddamn trees with the whole like forest grew with like a curve in the base of all the trees, and they were.
Wait, hold on.
This is in Pennsylvania, like 1930s.
Give us a little context. We went from paperwork getting lost to trees growing.
Well,
In
it was a
Pennsylvania.
phenomenon that people were like, "Hey, what the fuck is up with this?"
And what is it? What's the phenomena?
It's like all of the trees in a forest were like, "Oh, no," at the base.
Oh, okay.
Oh, they have a big curve at the base.
And so it's like one of these unexplained phenomena things. But then they were just like, "Yeah, the local town just lost all their documents," and you're like, in the 30s,
In the 1930s?
like like nobody was okay.
Yeah,
Like,
they had to eat it. You know, like,
you know,
tough times in the Depression. We had to make clothes or eat it.
Oh, so the town was making paper by cutting out sections of the trees?
no, just there was no documentation
As
from
to why
from the
the-
Why?
time this happened
Okay.
as to why they all looked like that or anything.
Right.
So it's a mystery because like people were just shitty record keepers.
Right.
Well, they were
Gotcha,
trying to
gotcha,
goose
gotcha.
the logs.
Yeah.
And the logs have a mind of their own.
Sometimes log gooses back.
And they,
Right.
they were dodging the
They were-
goose.
yeah.
You goose into the
I was
log.
like, no, thank you.
Oh, you playing hard to get.
Oh, it means they wanted more. It's
It's
actually in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
These logs.
they need water. He sails the Great Lakes. He becomes a merchant marine. Then he sails the Great Lakes. This is what he's saying, and he says while he's there, he hunts and traps with the Sioux and Chippewa tribes before he joins a logging team of French Canadians and Yankees. And every night they would drink whiskey and have knife fights over card games.
Good God.
Dude, they were kissing each other, bro.
Yeah, I mean it's probably all
Every night
metaphor.
we drank whiskey and we wrestled and we kind of had knife fights. You were giving each other fucking foot rubs.
It was a 24-hour daisy chain 69 nightmare.
Yeah.
The knife was in my pants.
God. Hope it never goes back to that again.
Give me your knife. But he was also an artist, and so
behind the bush.
one of the people he worked with back then said he was the type of guy that he would catch a fish and he wouldn't put it back and catch another one. He'd catch a fish and then he would sketch it, and then he would put it back.
Wow. Then you
Watch it die.
Yeah, exactly.
put it back.
Well, he
Catch and release, man.
maybe you
This
just
guy
get
was
the
like,
outline or
catch, sketch,
something.
and
Yeah.
After he makes a sketch?
Well, I don't know the whole sketch.
It's almost cruel.
The guy is saying that he catches a fish, he puts his rod down, he draws.
Yeah.
He's not constantly fishing nonstop.
He was fucking it.
yeah.
Then I throw it back.
Yeah, I shoot it off my dick.
Shoot it off my dick.
What?
Man.
What?
Oh my God.
God.
Can't believe that ever happened.
Can't believe someone said this show is broy.
Broy.
Eventually,
Yeah, I mean, with stuff like that,
I couldn't
with
believe it.
commentary like that.
With fucking
What?
slingshot
I
ejaculation.
mean, salmon. I've heard of salmon swimming upstream, but
Seaman swimming up salmon.
Jesus.
Oh.
Eventually, he starts selling some of his art to magazines, and by 1903, he's in his early 30s, and he's living in Boston full time as an artist for magazines and newspapers. Completely self-taught, but he gets the cover of magazines for his nature.
The cover
paintings
of fucking Salmon in the Mouth Monthly.
Yeah.
Here's my sample. Now this is my cock inside of a sturgeon.
We got to get back to nature, folks.
A better way than start dick first. This is my dick inside of a seahorse. It's really hard to catch. These things are fucking tiny.
Yeah.
And to catch the refraction of the water, the things are different as you stick the. Anyways,
But
with the catfish, these things have teeth.
the horse would back up into me. It's important to say.
The fish would back into me.
And it tasted like fish.
So
Tuna.
one day in the early 1910s, 1911, he's painting a picture of a moose, and
Minding my own business.
My cock, on the other hand.
but as he's painting it, he starts worrying, am I getting this color of the nature of the plants right or of the moose right? And then he's like, would anyone even notice if I didn't? Like, would anyone notice if I fucked any of this up?
Yeah, fuck it.
And
Gives a fuck.
he's like, what if I put like a caveman in the background? And then he's like, well, what if I just put like a modern man who was like a caveman in the background.
That looked like me fucking a moose.
What if there's a guy fucking a moose? It's would anybody even notice?
Grabbing it by the antlers.
Yeah. Now, if you move these paintings behind each other really fast, you'll see me sneak up on the moose and pounce on it.
Now who's the moose?
Now you'll see a tentacle grow from my crotch.
You'll see me with both hands open next to my temples to dupe the moose into thinking I'm one as well.
It's called the Bullwinkle maneuver. It's an early version of hentai. You won't get it, but your kids, trust me, they'll love it.
Follow me for the strangeness. And then he says after he has this thought about this painting, then that night he has a dream where he's lost in the woods.
Uh-oh.
He's alone and he's naked and
Face down,
he's never
ass up.
going to get out of the woods. And he wakes up and he wonders what would happen if like a civilized man went into the woods and just figured it out.
A woodsman.
Yes.
Or a kid in a Yankee in King Arthur's court.
Yes, very much in that similar vein. And then so
Ted Robinson Crusoe come out by this?
yes, yeah. I mean, it was certainly
Wow, original idea. What if a guy went into the woods?
Well, it was. So, but even back then, like Jack London.
Yeah. Call of the Wild.
Jack London
White Fang.
is becoming huge, you know, and so Robinson Crusoe, it's not the most unique thought, but all of these are fictional books.
Yes, and they tap into something relevant to the human condition.
Yes.
Well, also just, the face your fears thing, right?
Sure. The cave you fear to enter contains the treasures that you seek.
Yeah.
Yeah, and,
And if there's grass on the field, play it.
I suppose, there's some kind of thing where you do kind of hope it will change you, right? But I think the initial impulse is to be like, well, if we just stay in these civilized societies, then we'll always fear what's outside.
Yeah, because if we stay the course, then we are all dead. But what you're saying is that all these other examples that we had mentioned, the Jack Londons, etc., the Robinson Crusoes, those were fictional. Those were novels.
Yeah, and
They
even
were fictions.
Robert Louis Stevenson, there's a kind of, he goes to the Adirondacks because he's in really bad health, and he's like the least manly person there.
Yeah,
he's like he plays the penny whistle all day.
I don't even know what that is.
It's like it's kind of, I can't really describe.
Bitch whistle.
Yeah.
Fucking stop. That's so stupid.
Wait, what?
Why would you say a bitch whistle?
It sounds like he calls it a penny whistle. Sounds.
I thought you said pitch whistle, and I was like, yeah, sure, a whistle. You can change
it's like
pitches.
a bitch ass whistle.
That's so dumb. I know. Yeah, but I mean, why are you playing a whistle at all? Is the thing.
Well, I mean, some whistles are more.
Oh yeah, masculine.
Yeah.
You're a psycho. What fucking whistle is masculine?
Oh, now you're besmirching all whistles?
Yes.
So then you agree that the whistle is a bitch ass instrument.
I just agree it's stupid to play, but I hate the word bitch. So
This is bitch ass.
okay, but it's bad.
Totally different. Do you want me to say? I can't say.
No, you cannot.
I can't.
No, but,
So?
but also.
Yeah, you like it. You're laughing.
No, but it's bad.
Now, what you're insinuating is this fella is going to perpetrate a fraud on the American public.
That's not what I'm insinuating at all.
No, he's just saying he's not capable to do it.
Oh,
I'm saying Robert Louis Stevenson isn't capable of
Yes,
doing it.
because he's going in there with
But the
This
fella,
guy, Joseph Knowles. So,
Joseph Knowles.
by he's in Boston, and by some small miracle, we are to believe that he's in a bar and he's regaling some friends.
Did he gale him first?
Yes, he must have. About how he could live in the woods.
I could do it.
Yeah, and he's telling them, "I've done it. It's no problem. I was a kid. I was 11 days, right?"
ain't no thing.
Yeah.
And as
I
he's
grew a
telling
beard.
this, some newspaper man overhears him and brings the idea to the newspaper. They publish an article in the newspaper about like, man thinks he can live in the woods for a while.
Can you believe this guy?
And all of this mail comes flooding in. All of these readers are like, they're fascinated. They're like, whoa.
Yeah.
There's
hey,
no way a human being could survive on his own in the wilderness for longer than a fortnight.
if you're gonna do it, make sure to face the sun at all times. There's just all of these people with just
Face the sun
just
at
people,
all times.
just people with really bad advice.
Yeah, they're chiming in as if they live in nature.
Yeah.
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 Good for them.
It can't be done, but take my advice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Let me tell you what you're going to need, okay? A lot of lube.
You gotta goose those
You're gonna see
logs.
some hot-ass trees out there, bro. I'm not joking, dude. These things...
You're not going to be able to resist the power of the law.
The tree was bent over. I had to help myself.
It's either good or be goods in nature.
The centipedes and millipedes are multiplying,
Exponentially.
cascading out of the moss.
Orders of magnitude. The law of the wild is to goose or be goosed.
I'm so glad you didn't have this character before we went to the cabin.
We just had, hey, John.
You ever fuck with birds?
Oh, there was a raven. Rap tap tapping.
Quote the Raymond, nevermore. You ever fuck with birds?
Quote the Raymond.
Quote the Raymond.
Everybody loves them. You got to quote the Raymond because everyone loves them.
Dude, that was...
We should go back. Fucking annoy the shit out of Matt again.
Gotta get back.
So Joseph Knowles reaches a deal with the Boston Post, and the Boston Post was a pretty unique paper at the time, known for their really clever ways of getting publicity. Like one of the things they would do.
Guy goes to woods.
one of the things they would do is they would send out canes to the oldest person in a town, and they'd say, "You're the oldest person in town, so you get this Boston Post cane." And then what would happen is when that person would die, the next oldest person would get the cane. In some places in New England, very few, I think there's only 2 or 3, that is still happening.
Nice.
And even though the Boston Post doesn't exist anymore, that is still happening.
Sick.
A cane is a type of post.
And the Boston Post also, I believe they broke the Charles Ponzi case.
No shit.
Yeah. So they did some real reporting along with their shenanigans. But he makes a deal with them that he will go into the woods for 2 months, where he will enter the woods wearing nothing but a G-string.
No.
Yeah.
Was it called that?
That's what it's called. It's just a jockstrap. So they called it a G-string.
They call it a G-string?
Yeah. It's probably a genital string. I don't know.
that a
Genitals?
It was after Sir G. Wayne.
Yeah, the Green Knight.
The G string.
Yeah.
For that exact
All
reason.
right, now this is the blues riffing G-string.
Yeah.
Spread the cheeks, try.
Yeah.
Keep up.
Yeah. Now try to keep your dick up, all right? So he's got a nice big fucking ball sack.
He's got a jockstrap. So that means his asshole is open for business.
Well, there's a string there.
No, well, that's not a jockstrap, man. Jockstrap's got 2 strings on the butt cheeks,
Okay, then it's a G-string.
Nice.
which is also nice.
Yeah. And so he will enter
A thong.
He will enter the woods with just a G-string, and then every week or so, he will leave. He will take pieces of birch bark and a piece of charcoal, and he will write out what's been going on onto the birch bark and leave it at a designated spot so they can report on it.
Plus, he also might poop on it.
Really?
Whoops. I thought it was charcoal. OSHA rules and all.
Raccoons tag teamed me last night. These guys with thumbs.
You know, they have prehensile.
Yeah. I didn't see what they looked like because they had masks on.
But it kind of satisfied this weird burglar fantasy that I have. No
Anyway.
judgment. Don't kink shame. Fuck you guys.
They burgled my bunghole.
There's nothing left.
And they stole my pine combs, too.
Anyways, they slickened it up a bit first.
Weather's good.
Call the cops.
We'll forage for dingleberries tomorrow. All mine were pilfered.
So, August and September of 19... August...
It was a Wednesday.
Now I don't even have my G-string left. These guys are thieves. They took my dignity, my G-string, my pine combs, everything.
I like that you keep calling them pine combs.
Yeah.
Like he's combing his
Yes.
pine combs.
Yeah, his pubes.
Pine combs.
I used to straighten my fucking pubes with the pine combs.
That's how you know the rollers. You can use
Yeah.
pine
Yeah, yeah.
cones to roll your hair.
Yeah.
Curl them.
I must have. He must have looked too frivolous for the fucking raccoons because they went to town on him.
I mean, even I know I haven't had a perm since 1982. I mean, get real, man. I used to be a pimp.
You're lucky the possums are blind, man, because they would have ran a train on you.
Yeah.
High speed rail.
You be the one playing dead.
So in August and September of 1913, he's has a deal to go out into the woods of Maine.
Here's the deal, man.
I'm looking for hardwood.
And so he's going to be out there for 2 months.
2 months?
Yeah.
We're months shorter back then.
No.
Did you get a bitch ass whistle?
So the night before he heads out, he's inspected by a Harvard doctor who says that Knowles has, quote, considerable fat. Should aid him in resisting the cold.
He's right. And, famine or starvation or
Dude, poisoning.
that helps too.
It does.
Yeah.
Hey, you already here.
But
That was the fucking.
and that's about it.
when fucking. I think it was when Segura's fucking thing was like.
Oh, when he OD'd?
He OD'd on the fucking what is it, GHB?
GHB is not toxic.
The doctor told him he's like why did
Are you talking about when he was in college and he took a bunch of drugs?
Yeah.
He was taking like E and a bunch.
Yeah,
of
he had a
shit.
bunch of shit.
in him. But
he was supposed to die, and the
Yeah.
doctor was like, "Yeah, you didn't because you're fat.
yeah, a lot of mass to circulate the the drugs within.
Spread it out."
But GHB is not toxic. You can stop breathing, but it's not toxic.
Yeah, it sounds healthy.
Well, GHB is not bad for you.
So August 4th, 1913, he heads out to the edge of the Maine woods. He gets naked in front of the press. They take his picture with the
Thank
G-string.
God.
He smokes a cigarette, and then he heads into the woods. And then it begins to rain.
Nice.
Yeah.
In a G-string?
Yeah. Now, eventually, he gets, from this, clearing area into the woods. He gets into, and what we have now is based on what he wrote to the paper on the birch bark paper. The birch bark.
Cold.
Eventually, he gets out of the timber areas, and he says he starts to feel the freedom of the forest.
And he had nothing but the leather on his balls and asshole.
Yes.
No a satchel.
And I think it's even a cloth G-string.
Nice.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, comfort.
But
Lifts, separates.
Probably canvas.
No, John, that would rub
The
too much.
canvas which he wrote upon.
I'm through it with a polycotton blend.
Looks like someone wrote on this with a dick.
Absorbent. Wait, so
Seems to be a lot of pre-com.
So he gets out to the forest.
but really, that no tools.
That is it. That is it.
Got it.
No lighter.
So he is
No,
he is
like-
kind of dressed like Ric Flair.
Yeah. He has become the nature boy.
Yeah, he's got a feather boa on.
Yeah.
What are you talking
He
about?
might
he
get
has
one later if he
a
fucking
fake
strangles
tan.
some geese
Oh, good point.
or a fucking pheasant or something.
So he says he feels the freedom of the forest. He leaves out at like 10 in the morning. As he lays down to sleep that night, though, he says it's too wet to make a fire. He hasn't had enough time to build a shelter.
Yeah.
Next day, he catches a fish, but it's too wet to start a fire.
Too busy drawing it.
And
Drawing it.
at one point, he puts the fish down to try to make a fire, and as he does that, a muskrat steals it.
Son of a motherfucker.
Yeah. And he's like, ah. But he eventually does build a shelter, and eventually he does make a fire. And after a few days, he weaves leggings, and he writes that he begins to go about. He writes, quote, "I begin to go about things as if I were a man of the forest itself." And as he's doing this, and as the Boston Post is reporting on it, their circulation is just exploding. This is the best.
Yeah.
This is the best story.
It's like Castaway in serialized writer format.
Yeah. And
he wove some leggings.
yeah, out of
Birch bark. Yeah, sure.
No, usually some sort of grass.
He wove.
Yeah, so I mean, his mother would make them moccasins. So like,
But leggings, those things go all the way up. You know what I'm saying?
well, not probably up to the knee, because when you're walking through the brush and everything,
You want to protect yourself from various nettles,
bushes, and
thorny.
because he mentions he got cut up walking around the first day.
Yeah, he went into the woods uncircumcised. Came out. Another story.
Tugging at sleeves, man.
It came out Jewish. You know what I'm saying? There comes that.
So the Boston Post's circulation is just exploding. Readers are sending in advice and well wishes and humbugs.
You gotta tuck the foreskin, man. You gotta tie it around.
By the end of the 2 months, the Boston Post would double its circulation.
Good God.
It went from 200,000 to
Like,
400,000.
have you heard about this Nature Man kid? Guy's out there.
Fucking wicked queer, bro. Queer means weird here.
In
Try to keep up, kid.
Do you know the advice, any of the shit they were telling him to do?
Stop being such a queer, bro.
yeah,
back
I mean,
here.
I can probably find some of it, but you know, it's like, no offense to housewives, but it's from like housewives, or the humbugs are from like guys who are like, yeah, I was a logger. There's no way he can do it.
Logger.
Yeah. And it's
Lager,
like,
kid. By the way, I love drinking lagers. So do I.
No, I mean, I should have.
We can save
Save it
it.
for the, we'll save it for the Patreon.
We'll read the,
I should say,
the reader mail.
yeah, I should say, most of this comes from Joe Montevalli's wonderful book, Naked in the Woods,
Nice.
about Joseph. Jim Montevalli. Sorry,
Jim
sorry,
Montevalli.
Jim.
Naked in the Woods.
Naked in the Woods.
Thong up his ass.
Yeah. And so late August, Knowles writes to the paper that he had dug a bear pit with set up so that when a bear walked into it, it would get like hit with falling debris.
Like a predator type of situation.
Yeah, and that he had
You
clubbed the
son
bear
of
over
a-
the head and killed it, and that he had skinned it, and now he had made himself a sort of tunic from the bear.
At least, if not a full-on crown and cowl.
Right.
Now, let me tell he's writing to the paper
With the
on birchwood
Mhm.
and charcoal.
With a piece of charcoal.
And then was he mailing it in?
He was leaving it at the
No, you leave it-
the
you-
designated drop site.
There's a drop.
So he's not really going too far away from a
Right.
certain radius
Right.
or circumference.
Yeah, I mean, he is basically, there's this lake that he's basically just kind of hanging around.
So this is, he's within. It's kind of like Survivor, the show. Hey, this is kind of where you're hanging out. If shit goes, or
Right. I mean, but if he did, let's say, a bear attacked him and he was really injured.
unless he was hanging out by the drop point at a certain time.
Right.
Then they'd probably go looking for him.
And there was a rule that he doesn't talk to anybody. So if anybody
right.
sees him,
This is
he has
reasonable.
to
This is
he has to
reasonable.
remove himself.
If this happened the way,
Quite a good contest.
Yes.
if it happened the way it did,
Mhm.
and I have my doubts,
Do you?
I do.
Why?
Well, I like that it's set up this way.
Sure.
There are rules.
But you think it might be just like a sell a paper thing or something?
Well, let's listen to the rest of the fucking thing.
All right, wait, I'm just curious about what your doubts are thus far. I think it sounds legit. Any asshole can go in the woods, and then any asshole can be like, "I'll stop by and see if he's dead."
The bear pit thing is a little bit much.
So he has this fetching top.
Oh, he lures the bear in with his one tit out.
No, that's the
Fetching.
bear top that he has now made himself.
Oh god.
In September, he writes that he caught a deer.
Nice.
He said he had strung like a string loop over a branch, and the deer had run into it, and then he had finished it off. It got caught in it.
Oh God.
But because these are
How do you finish it off?
The same way he finished off the moose.
with his hands, John.
Really? Choked a deer to death?
Well, no, he probably clubbed it,
Oh.
but I meant he jacked it off. And but the thing is, these are reported in the
Family show.
newspaper. So in the newspaper, it's reported that he killed a bear and a deer in the Maine woods. He doesn't have a hunting license.
Oh God. Then John Q. Law gets involved.
That's right.
And he needed one at this point in this
He
juncture.
did.
Big government.
He
Yeah.
did. And even if he got one, it wasn't. It was either bear or deer. One of the seasons, it wasn't even that season yet, so he couldn't. One of those animals he couldn't kill even if he had the license because it wasn't in season.
And this is when the frontier is right there.
No, this is night.
Long
All right,
after.
the
Long-
frontier has been moved
Yeah.
since this juncture.
Yeah, they're long past.
Just another example of big government getting in the way of the free man.
Yeah.
The green man.
And so
The black man.
near the end of December, there are rumors that the game warden is going to go into the woods and just drag him out. And he's like, well, it can't end like this.
Yeah.
So he starts heading north. And so he, over his last week, week and a half, or, almost 2 weeks, he starts heading north to the Canadian border. And he eventually crosses the border around, just after September, early October.
They're not sending their best people.
No,
This guy's got a G-sting for Christ's sake.
This guy's got a bear cowl. Okay.
Well, and so he skins the deer and then he makes deer leggings out of the deer.
Oh,
Nice.
so now he looks kind of like a
Centaur.
satyr, actually, a satyr.
Ah.
Yeah. Anyways,
And,
that's my thing. But
And so he eventually crosses the border right near this city called Lac Megantic.
dear fuck Canada.
Yeah, it's like Lake Megantic.
Lockie's Lake, that's right.
And he crosses in this town, and the first person he runs into is this 14-year-old French-Canadian woman who just yells French insults at him. She's like, what the fuck are you
in
doing?
your
you son
general
of a bitch?"
direction.
Yeah,
Your mother was...
I like that you call her a 14-year-old woman.
Yeah, sorry, 14-year-old girl.
14-year-old girl.
She's French-Canadian, John. She has to be a
Back
woman.
then?
Those French-Canadian
They're
men.
lactating
Those French-Canadian
all over the
men are in
fucking
trouble.
place, bro.
Yeah, 14-year-old girl, not a 14-year-old.
Okay.
She was very adult.
They're women.
Okay.
The French-Canadian.
Age of Consent is not just a fucking Joy Division song, man. New Order?
Fucking New Order.
It's
Yeah.
not just a
Whatever,
Joy
dude.
Division song.
Whatever, bro.
That's a really good T-shirt.
Age of Consent is not just a New Order.
Age is just.
I like that too, man.
So
Most
he-
states it's 16.
Okay, so she starts hurling abuse at him.
Yeah, but
Cows as well.
so he retreats from her. That's the first,
Did he regale her before he retreated?
that's the first person he's seen.
He probably got away really fast with his new deer legs. He galloped away.
In a
terrified.
furious fashion.
But so here's a picture of how he supposedly looked. I'll show you guys. It's black and white, so it's really hard to.
Is that a photograph
Yeah,
of him?
yeah.
No, it's like
Look-
1920 now.
It's 1913.
So this is after the fact. And he's like, let me
This is a
bust
picture
out.
after
Let me,
the
let me
fact.
bust out the old shit.
But just to, if anybody came out of the woods looking like that, you'd be like, "What the fuck do you want?
Yeah, what are you doing, you dumb?
Get out of my
bastard?
French Canadian town."
Dumb
It's
weird.
heavily retouched. Says the
Who isn't?
you got to be touched before you can be retouched.
So it's a picture of him. He's posing, but he's wearing the
He's fucking
beard,
wearing the whole
bear
fucking,
top and the deer legs,
the whole
and
Craven the Hunter get up.
he's woven
It takes me a minute.
I know, yeah, to see.
he's woven his own shoes out of wood.
Oh, dude, he looks like he's coming down the mountain with some stone tablets.
He's got this, got a nice
Yeah,
beard.
take your time.
Yeah, he does look like Heston Moses.
He looks quite rugged.
Yeah.
Well, so
It's been heavily retouched.
he shows up in this
And
French
he wore
Canadian town.
the
That-
foreskin of the bear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on
Around his own.
on his, yeah.
Yeah.
He doubled it up.
And it's called bearskin.
Bear foreskin. And but he's near the train tracks in the town, and the train comes and slows down, and he gets on the train and he rides the train
In
into town.
Canada.
He smells like shit.
Plus he farted.
But he gets into town where all of these newspaper men show up. A brass band shows up. He's the toast of the town. I think the mayor of the town is threatening to arrest him. So one of his newspaper men friends spends all night drinking with the mayor until the mayor falls asleep, and then they get him out of town on the 3 a.m. train.
Nice.
Because the mayor wanted to extradite him.
Yeah, something like that. And this is
Because of the hunting license violation.
some sort of scoundrelly D.
Well, I mean, there are rules for a reason. I mean,
But this is also right around the time of, the crazy rich man from America breaks out of prison in New York, goes to Canada.
Oh my god.
This is right around that exact same
no
time.
way.
And so it's like this mirror image of.
we're not sending our best and brightest.
with that,
But also, yeah, we have some kind of a responsibility to, get these fugitives back.
but also it's hot news. It's like
Yeah.
awesome news. There's another American.
Another one of these
has run from
crazy
the law.
American
Yeah, but I mean,
he didn't shoot anybody on top of Madison Square Garden to get there, but
right. But there's also a thing too where you go like the sympathy for that guy was manufactured by being like, oh, he was so outraged by these
He was scandalized.
crimes done to his wife. But this other guy is doing the thing that all probably Canadians and Americans kind of would romanticize, which is just surviving in the frontier.
right, prove it. Yeah, and
The Bear Grylls, the Survivor Man shit, like
The bare necessities.
Hakuna Matata. You ever see Survivor Man?
yes.
Or you get your Bear Grylls or whatever, Bear Grylls. I now I have a newfound appreciation for whatever paperwork they got to fill out for when they drop Les Stroud. I think his name is Les Stroud.
Yeah.
When they drop him in the fucking Badlands or wherever they drop him, and he's there for 7 days with just there's nothing. He is the camera crew for 7. And if he kills a fucking bald eagle or whatever he does,
Right.
it must have some sort of exemption because of
people fucking up when they just try to trot out their bullshit.
Well, yeah, I mean,
anyway, you know what I mean?
this isn't this isn't fucking Bundy Ranch shit. You can't just go anywhere and do whatever the fuck you want. That's not how it goes.
right, but the purpose of those rules is so that you're not exploiting the land for financial gain.
Yeah.
For Survivor Man, although the show is financial gain, it's not like a mass industry of exploitation of nature.
Well,
it's a guy out there and
he's not killing animals.
And let's say he does. If he has to kill a rabbit or a fucking pheasant for the show, fuck, do we gotta fill out a bunch of paperwork for that, or
Right.
It's just interesting. It makes me think oh man, even back then in 1890 whatever,
1910.
What did I say?
1913.
Listen, that's 100 something. It's a long
yes,
time.
it's a long time ago.
Yes, and it's also straight up in the heyday of the fucking Theodore Roosevelt romanticized shit. And
but also let's have some rules and regulations on how much we can exploit nature, right? And let's also understand that all those hunter tags, they go to preservation.
Yes.
So all that money that from hunting licenses and tags and lotteries and stuff, that is the money that pays to keep national parks open.
It's a complicated it's a complicated relation.
Well, the weird,
but
as most are.
But let's save that for the end of the.
Okay, go ahead.
So he gets in this town, right, and they put him up in a hotel, and he's like, "This is awesome," and then he asks for a cigarette. And all that time in the woods, he can't not have a cigarette, and it's just good stuff.
Couldn't have grown some tobacco or something.
Yeah,
like that.
but so then he has to flee at 3 a.m. But then the touring begins. He's national news. Everywhere he goes, he's mobbed by people. He's easy to spot because he's wearing
in Canada.
He comes back to America and he's national.
And he's on the run?
He's not on the run anymore.
Oh,
he's just taking the train and he's riding with the newspaper men. And
no longer a bounty or
there is. He would eventually it would be eventually a whole scene of him going back to Maine and paying it off. And because they weren't really going to after he gets out of there, they're not really going to arrest him. They just want him to pay the fine.
Yeah.
Right.
And so he does later.
Here's the deal, man.
But in the meantime, he makes all of the money.
In the meantime, he's making bank. He comes back into America. Everybody wants to see him.
Yeah.
He's riding the train. He's wearing the bear and deer outfit.
He's railing the speed.
He would, the train would show up. All these people would come out, and he would do things like they'd be like, do something, and he'd be like, and so he would take his fire starting sticks and he would start a fire in front of them with sticks.
Fire starts
and they'd be like, "Oh my god,
he was a prodigy."
This guy's nuts.
Yeah, this guy is a prodigy.
He slapped some guy's bitch up.
Oh god.
And so
Bear tried to fuck me.
Prove it.
Self-defense.
Everywhere he goes, there's thousands of people attending. There's banquets wherever the trains stop.
Oh.
He gets into Boston, and his train pulls into Boston, and there's 200,000 people in Boston to see him.
Good God.
Yeah.
That's Boston.
Dude, that's
like
nuts.
all of Boston.
That's like all of Boston.
Where are they hanging out?
He came out with deer legs, kid. Bear sternum.
He was a chimera. Some sort of a human deer hybrid, kid.
He had a fierce hat on, kid.
Like one of them types your dog has, like a lipstick.
Like you only get out in nature.
Yeah, like one of them Christmas tree lights, kid. It's fucking wicked sick, bro. Red, like a beet, kid.
Like the socks.
Yeah. God bless the socks.
So he shows up in Boston, just insane amount of people to see him. They
Red like Outback.
yeah, they take him, they bring him up to this fancy hotel. He attempts to make a speech. He is not a very good speechifier. The paper the next day, their headline under the headline, after they're like, Knowles arrives, Nature Man arrives. The next headline is, Find speech making hard.
Oh God.
Me no speak good.
Toxin grunts.
Yeah.
Mainly survived on dingleberries.
It was usually like, it was great to be here. I had a really tough time out there. Thanks for your support. They'd be like, oh, okay.
What was the overall time elapsed from port to port, nature to
2 months?
2 months.
2 months on the run.
It's a long time, man.
The tour? The big old tour?
No, not the.
No. 2 months in nature.
Oh yes. But
what the real trial there is.
Well, I mean, anytime you're in front of 200,000 people, I don't know how often.
That's hard too. Yeah, I mean, that's you speaking in front of 2 million, right?
Yeah,
and you have experience with that, or at least some practice in sport,
speaking in front of
people,
some crowds.
Yeah, and then what I'm getting at is that the trial there is not necessarily being in nature, although it is. But I think what's more important there and what's more trying is being alone for 60 days.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes, and he does write in his book that the hardest thing was not the physical acts, it was the mental.
Absolutely. I mean, if you've got somebody, everything is easier.
Saddest thing about killing the bear was then I was alone.
I had nobody double team the motherfucker.
Especially after the bear was dead.
Well,
the deer was always skittering away, so I had to murder it.
he was keeping
Now I have
secrets.
these fine pantyhose.
It's like they're with me all the time.
Have you seen them? Have a look here. Look at my gam.
Look at my fawn skin gloves.
See, there is no gender in nature. You can see I have a fine bare sternum and these dainty deer legs. Look at me.
I consume the
I'm
deer
a
antler.
doe, a female deer.
Who's to say?
From the waist down.
I consume the deer antler, and now I've got the biggest hard on this side of the Mississippi.
Perhaps you'd like to see the foreskin I've grown in nature.
I modeled it after the bear skin.
We need a lot of mushrooms out here.
I got a bear skin rug. Oh.
Completely out of my mind.
So he gets back into Boston. He has
I
this
got
whole
a
thing,
bear skin rug.
and they bring him back to that Harvard doctor that called him fat, and the Harvard doctor says he has, quote, perfect skin. Its pores close and shield him from sudden chills. And then he does a strength test, and he is stronger than the Harvard rowing crew, and he can lift 1,000 pounds with his legs. And then the
Not true.
doctor then proclaims, "This is the strongest man in the world."
What?
Yes.
This is Trump's doctor.
Yeah.
Now, could he have been in better shape because of his experience?
Of course.
Of course.
Yes,
But
Is that likely?
1,000 pounds?
Certainly possible.
it's very likely.
1,000 pounds.
No,
He doesn't
no.
say it doesn't say squat. He doesn't say
Aaron,
quad.
Aaron, we agree. Fundamentally, we agree. But however, he probably was a lot more cut than.
Oh,
yes.
Well, so
I want to advocate for that.
Yes.
at one of these gatherings, the doctor tells him to take off the bearskin, and all of these ladies come up to rub his back to be like, wow, this is what a strong back is like.
And flocks of lice hop from his back hair into their cooter hair.
So after this,
Which then he immediately got out with a pine cone.
And he pine combed it out. That's right.
This is dessert, ladies. Can't have these.
See you in the penthouse suite.
so he starts touring based on this popularity. He's making up to $1,200 a week back then, which is about $32,000 today.
$13,000 a week?
Yeah. Just from like making speeches and talking to different groups. And which
All
is
I had to do was become half bear, half deer. Ain't nothing to it.
But then, November of that year, the Boston Post rival paper, the Boston American,
Son of a bitch.
publishes this giant story.
Is it an expose?
Knowles made it all up.
You son of a
That he was in the
bitch.
cabin eating canned fish, drinking beer. They said his bearskin had bullet holes in it, and that his bear catching pit, they found it. They said it was too small.
For
They
a
even
bear.
found the club.
Too small.
They even found the club he used to kill the bear, and they said it was,
A
quote,
club sandwich.
they said it was, quote, just a club as an artist would be expected to select for the role.
Oh, because he was a fucking phony. A fake.
But they're saying this guy, who seems like he knows the woods, doesn't even know how to pick out a club to kill a bear
Yeah, he
with.
picks out a club. That's not the grail
He's
of a
just
carpenter.
an artist kid. He's not a bear nor deer.
He's an artist. He knew how to paint a club, not the wheeled one.
So,
amazing.
so now people are giving him shit. He gets to one of his stops.
But he has some money in his pocket.
Sure, but he gets to one.
G-string.
He wants to keep making these, speeches and stuff. Maybe not the speeches, but everywhere he goes, he makes fire in front of people, and they're like, "This is a magician."
Fire good.
So at one of these stops, they ask him to prove that he killed a bear by killing another bear, and they say, "We got a bear." And he's like, "Okay, fine."
I'll get you a bear.
And so the next morning, they bring him out to a field, and
There he is right there. Go get him.
the bear's not there yet, but the ground is frozen and it's too hard to dig a pit. So they can't dig a bear pit. And then the bear is late. The bear was traveling from some guy's house. They had to
talk to his agent.
They had to
first.
get it on a train, and then they had to get the bear off the train and to the
Yeah.
field. And by the time it gets there, it's
He's like,
too,
some guy's supposed to kill me. I don't have time.
Was it Thursday? I gotta pick up my
Yeah,
kids.
no.
This is my weekend with the kids. I can't get
Yeah.
killed by some fucking phony this week. Like,
By the time the bear gets to the field, it's too dark for the cameras to take pictures of the event. So Knowles says, well, just have the bear run up a tree and you guys can shoot it so at least everybody here can have a good time. And then the people in the crowd are like, well, if you just let him go, he might attack us. And so then Knowles goes, okay, fine, I'll buy the bear. And so then he buys the bear and he leaves.
and I'm gonna do stuff to it.
Wait. He takes the bear with him?
Yeah.
Well, not
Like on
his
the road?
back,
Yeah, on the road.
but yeah, I mean, in a train car. Or
Yeah, in a
something. Not like in his
cage.
fucking back.
In a cage. But yeah, he was supposed
Probably
to kill a bear and it ends up with him leaving with a bear.
Now the bear's got his own dressing room.
Yeah, it's got its own fucking demands.
And
Agent,
so he spends
manager, hairdresser.
He spends all this time like going after trying to refute all of the charges against him. And he's like, yeah, so and so bought a bear pelt, but he buys bear pelts all the time. He didn't buy the bear pelt I was wearing.
No.
And he's like, oh, you listen to so and so. He told you that guy has nothing to do with
Fake
that whole
news.
area. Yeah. So
Yeah.
he's trying to refute all the charges, and he gets back into Maine, and he has another crowd with him in Maine. And this time he brings that bear to the bear pit.
And the bear speaks.
And he says,
I say.
This guy could definitely kill me. There's no doubt about it. I got no doubt in my mind. This guy
If not for his pure soul.
will work like wear my skin. You know what I'm saying? Not just wear it, but wear.
Really make it his own.
You know what I mean?
I mean, he's got a bear skin.
Rug.
Oh, yo,
got a-
yo.
so he brings the bear to the bear pit, and in front of a crowd.
He's got a fire pit, too.
But it's like a little bit of a pit that, if a bear got into, a bear might not be able to get out of. Not like.
I mean, bears can climb trees. They can run 40 miles an hour.
but can they climb? I mean, if they're digging through dirt, it's a little bit tougher.
I don't know. They catch fucking salmon midair. I'm pretty sure
Yeah, but
bears are pretty capable fucking beasts.
Yeah, but maybe not getting out of a dirt pit. I don't know.
No, certainly possible. I don't know.
I'm not the expert here. But he brings the bear to the pit. But according to some of the onlookers, it's pretty sad at this point. You know, it's had a hell of a life.
The bear?
Yeah.
I just got off a train.
I used to serve in World War I with these Polacks.
And so in front of this crowd, Knowles clubs it to death.
Oh, God.
And then he searches around for a piece of sharp shale, and he skins it in front of everybody. And they all go, oh, wow, that's a...
It's a real deal, man.
This guy ain't bullshitting, man.
And December of that year, his book comes out called Alone in the Wilderness. It's published and it sells 30,000 copies.
Right in time for Christmas.
Yeah. For that Bears family. Some sources claim it was 300,000, but that is a lot. Knowles himself says it's 30,000, which is pretty incredible because it was $1.99 a copy back then.
And nobody could read.
Yeah.
And there were only 30,000 people alive.
Yeah. But in order, 30,000 copies at $1.99 back then is about $44 million today.
Jesus, good God.
So 30,000
the
copies.
publisher got 42 million.
Yes. And he probably got 50,000 or something.
Which is still, you know.
But then he had that follow-up, wait till I tell you about the deer.
If you think me skinning the bear was something, wait till you see
Wait
what
till
I...
about the sexual tryst I had with this female doe deer. Yeah.
Ray isn't just a drop of golden sun, you know what I'm saying? It's my friend whom I mean the woods. We
Sure,
rake the
I
deer.
got Lyme disease out of it.
I got lines disease.
Hey, life gives you limes, you make fucking limeade, bro.
Now, decades later.
The deer tick, kid.
Decades later.
Deadliest beast of all.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Decades later, in 1938. Now, we're just jumping ahead just briefly for a moment to say in 1938, the New Yorker would publish a Where Are They Now feature. And it would... one of the people they interviewed was a young man who was there for the bear killing, and he was totally believing it. But then, as they walked back from the bear killing pit, they passed a cabin that was clearly new in the woods because the logs were still like peeling,
the sawdust, etc.
And outside of the cabin was a pile of beers and tin cans. And Knowles said he had never seen it before. And the boy, who is now a man in 38, he says, in that moment, he knew Knowles was lying because there was no way he could not see that cabin if he was staying around.
Yeah, if you're a fucking cabin. Who put that there?
right.
My eagle eye can spot a deer. Like, yeah, get the fuck out of here. What about that gigantic house with fresh beer cans?
Yes.
Also, can I have some?
I don't know anything about that.
Wait. So this was the skepticism here is not that he clubbed a deer or a bear, rather clubbed a bear or not. It's whether or not he was
lying
about being in the wilderness.
Oh, so the clubbing a bear debacle happened where he was supposed to have not been having a cabin.
Go
further away to do that stunt.
Well, no, but that's where the bear pit was.
Oh, they reenacted it at the bear pit in question.
Yes.
Because the other bear pit was too frozen over to dig in.
So there was no bear pit in that other field. They asked him to dig a pit to remake that
prove
bear pit.
it. Right.
And in this bear pit, which was the original bear pit, when that first article came out in 1913, they said they found it and it was too short to kill a bear.
Oh, and so he said, well, I'll fucking show you. Come back to my bear pit. I'll show you how we do things.
Right. And then as they were leaving that,
just give me a minute
they came upon this cabin. And in that same 1938 New Yorker article.
But there was very clearly a cabin with a bunch of PBRs.
And it was a new cabin.
And it was a new cabin. The logs were still fresh.
Or Newcastle beers.
And the thing of like going like, all right.
I've never seen that before in my life. Where it's
it had fucking Wi-Fi.
Walk further.
Yeah, it's like, well, if you were at this bear pit and you walked in any direction towards the lake,
just like a child deducing obvious lying.
Yes.
If this isn't true, then why the fuck would any of the rest of
Right, when you could just say, Yes, I've seen that. I have,
Fine.
yeah.
I killed that man as well.
Yes, exactly.
I'm wearing his skin at this very moment.
Honestly, I drink heavily to get over all that bear murder.
Yeah. You guys wouldn't understand.
Have you ever clubbed a bear to death?
My only friend out there, and I killed him 2 times.
Can you imagine? You never get it, you fucking bitch.
First of all, they're only awake half the year.
You know how hard it is to find.
I wish I could hibernate through this. It's fucked up, man.
In that same 1938 New Yorker article that claims everything was fake, its main source was this writer named Michael McHugh. And McHugh was the
Most Irish
writer-
bastard of all time.
He was-
I'm Michael McHugh.
Yeah, the eye roll I gave old John Boy there.
and supposedly he was the writer and reporter who connected
All the fucking dots.
Knowles to the Boston Post. And McHugh would claim that he was the reporter that Knowles talked to in that bar, and that they planned the entire thing, and that they used a group of locals and friends to keep it secret and to get supplies. And McHugh also said that he and Knowles were staying in that cabin, and eventually they didn't get along.
But fucked each other.
One day, Knowles brought in some deer hide that he skinned off a dead deer that he found. McHugh hated the smell and threw it away, which pissed off Knowles. And then the final straw for McHugh was that one day Knowles stole a pie that McHugh had left to cool on a windowsill.
No.
Oh, like a fucking Pepe Le Pew shit.
Yeah.
Did he float in the air sniffing the waves of scent?
Yes. And they never spoke again after he stole that pie. What is it with a pie on a windowsill?
Well, now, it was one thing when you had the deer legging, but the pie theft was quite another.
The most unbelievable thing is the pie on the window.
I don't get the pie on the windowsill.
That's bullshit.
It's like the most heinous crime.
Nope. Why does it have to be? Just put it on the table.
Well, it's so hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you don't want to heat up the cabin.
But you don't want some fucking scamp floating by on the scent trail with their feet all akimbo
Yeah.
to steal your fucking apple pie.
Or you don't want those, gangbanger raccoons coming around.
Yeah, you don't
all
want to
there
have a
with their
fucking
thumbs.
last house on the left your pie.
Yeah.
You know?
Because with the thumbs, you got a knife and you can slice.
I mean, you got prestidigitation.
Yeah,
you
these
can do
ra-
magic tricks and
these
shit.
raccoons-
Sleight of hand.
These
Yeah.
raccoons could probably just give like an equal slice to every, single member of the whole gangbang gang.
That's right. Yeah. It's fucking the 7th floor crew.
Can we just take a quick break so I can get another drink? I'm sorry. But, yeah. We'll be right back, folks. And we're back.
So, 1913. We're back in 1913. So even then, there were calls of fakery. The 1938 expose in the New Yorker is a much more serious indictment. But forget that for now. Because
The indictment in the New Yorker in 1938?
1938, yes.
Some 25 years later.
Yeah. But for now, we're back in 1913. And after a while, Joseph Knowles, his speaking engagements, they start drying up. There's only so long.
Well, he can't talk.
Yes, his
Fire bad.
but he's
only milk a single tit for so long.
yeah, he's making fire in front of him, but he's saying it's bad. So then he starts heading out to the West Coast, where he's making speeches, and by the summer of 1914, through all of his, the image of him, the idea of him, is incredibly
So hot.
inviting. It is for
It's like Jared from Subway.
I
You're like,
don't
wow,
know.
this guy ate Veggie Delights for a couple years, and he went from
No.
fucking morbidly obese
He
to
means
kind
before
of fat.
the pedophilia.
Nope.
You're not letting me
Nope.
finish the fucking.
No. Jared from Subway was
the
a guy who
time-
just didn't eat.
Yeah, but then you found out there was more. To
But this is a guy who is a,
it.
Okay, yeah, we'll return to that.
I'm gonna stand by it. It's a good idea, and I stand by it. And those kids are too small.
And so
but to answer that, here's the thing that I didn't read earlier, but I think I will now because I think it makes more sense. Lewis Warren, professor of Western history at the University of California, was writing about Buffalo Bill, and
She a great big
He's-
person.
In 1913, the frontier is closed. The automobile is catching up, or becoming popular. And Warren writes, that there's something about mass society and the rugged individual man who can revert to his, quote, inner savage to tame the wilderness. The psychologist Stanley Hall, father of child study movement, argued that the stages of human development
Father
mimic
of what kind of movement?
child study. Argues that the stages of human development mimic the stages of civilization. Ontogeny recapitulates. Okay, I'm going to skip that part. We can if we cultivate our savage instincts, we can remove maladies. We can, in light of the gathering war clouds of Europe, the fear of the modern American men weren't up to savage combat like their frontier ancestors were. So with Joseph Knowles, by going out into the woods, what he is doing is proving to all of these people in America that you still have that fighting spirit in you, that you are not the wimp from the city.
All right.
That if this guy can do it,
You're not a city slicker to Curly's goal.
it's in everybody. And of course it's not. This is a guy who actually did know the woods.
Right.
He did know how to, weave moccasins and make his
Because
own
of
shoes.
his mom.
Yes.
The mushrooms to eat.
Yes.
The log to goose.
Yes.
Which dogs to goose and which to be goose by.
Right,
Yes.
right.
And which Luis to Guzman.
But that is, that type of thing. You can imagine why all these people in the West Coast, especially as the movie industry is growing, and the newspapers, the Hearst newspapers are growing.
Tall
Yellow
tales.
journalisms.
But so even if it is a tall tale, it's still the biggest tale.
And
that is
the
happening.
one you want to hear.
Yes. And so in the summer of 1914, he signed a contract with William Randolph Hearst. And this time he's going to head out into the woods that he's not familiar with. And he's going to travel with a reporter and a professor. He's going to camp on his own. Every couple of days, he will return to the reporter and the professor and tell them what's going on.
Right.
Sup, y'all?
And this time it'll be 1 month, and it's going to be in the Siskiyou Mountains of Northern California, Southern Oregon. And there's, in essence, there's tracking. Let's make sure it's real.
Yeah.
There's
Find out.
when he does do it, the reporter goes out to try to see if he faked it and doesn't find really any evidence.
These are real dingleberries.
Yeah,
Fresh.
exactly.
Found no beer cans.
No, no Swanson's frozen peas in here.
Yeah. This is a bear's foreskin.
This guy's eating real shit, man.
Pretty much cornbread.
Yeah.
Pretty much all cornbread, man. Hell no, you can't have your amount of cornbread shits.
By all accounts, it's a solid success.
Shit.
After a few days, his feet start to swell, and he makes a few different types of shoes, but eventually he figures it out.
High heels.
And
Bigfoot.
I mean,
I can't run in these heels,
there's
man.
probably something to this type of story that
Bigfoot.
because
No,
Big ass feet.
no, not literally
Aaron,
big, but
100% this is the truth.
you're right, but no. You like that?
you're right. But
You're right.
But no.
That's so shitty.
No, you're right.
You're right.
Bigfoot.
John, you're right, but
No.
not this time.
So eventually he figures out the shoe thing. There's plentiful game out there.
Gotta piss on them. Gotta piss on the feet.
There's fewer bugs in the Siskiyous than there would have been in Maine. That was one of the things that people said he was faking in Maine, because he said that the bugs died down at the end of July. And
That's when they pick up.
a lot of people were like, no, you would have just been eaten alive in Maine.
Yeah.
But there's fewer bugs in Siskiyous. And after the first week, so it takes him about a week to really settle in. He has to build a shelter, and he has to
The flies were also all in his ass crack. He's like, I didn't see any. It's
Well,
like,
well,
yeah,
the dingleberries
they're
are a
all
wonderful
behind you.
distraction.
Yeah, it's like the whole.
Well, that's the beauty of nature.
That's the beauty of nature.
I'm sorry. So go ahead. There's no bugs. Whatever.
So he basically spent the first week is the hardest, because that's where he's like
chaser.
he's creating, he's building his shelter, and he's setting up camp, and finding a routine. So much of this type of survival is finding a survivable routine of I go here, find the clean water. I go here,
Yeah.
I have the game.
Yeah.
I bring it back to the fire that I've built and can recreate.
The survival of the body is dependent on the survival of the mind, and vice versa, right?
And also, the routine. The
The poutine.
The clock.
The poutine.
Working the clock.
Yeah, though that's the survival of the mind, right?
Yeah.
Is knowing, all right,
Oh, 3 p.m. I get the hand job from the raccoon.
yeah, well, that's
Can't be late.
choosing time.
I just painted gold. He loves it. Won't let go of it.
What?
I don't know what he means.
Raccoons, like, when they grab something shiny, they won't let go of it, even if they're trapped. If it's shiny, like, they'll just be like, oh, I can't get...
Is that like the monkey paw parable?
No, it's a real thing, right?
This is something you learned on your own.
You know the monkey paw thing?
Raccoons will not let go of something shiny. It's like... It's the weirdest thing in the world.
Huh.
Fucked up.
But yeah, they'll stay trapped. And
Well, you can say that about human beings.
No, yeah, it's the most thing. Once you have thumbs, you're fucked with greed.
Yeah, that's the monkey paw thing. Is it, you throw like a mango in a
Last Crusade.
yeah. Well, it's kind of like the Last Crusade, man.
Because there's the monkey that gets the apricot, but then there's a lady that can't let go of the grail.
Yeah, like all the monkey has. If you got a certain type of like cage with spines, and like all this monkey has to do is if they stick their hand in to grab the thing,
Yeah.
all they have to do is let go,
And then they'll
they'll
be
get
free.
out.
Yeah,
but
yeah, exactly.
They can't let go because
Yeah.
they're fucking monkey brains.
Apparently that's the thing.
And the same with that fucking German bitch and the Grail
I don't know what
with
that
the
was.
whistle
Yeah.
in like Indiana.
I think I'd like to
Indiana?
apologize. It was actually, I think, the monkeys from Lost Ark. But the lady grabbed
Raiders
the
of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
Temple
The
of
Raiders.
Doom. Who's
Yeah.
to say? There's
I mean,
The monkeys,
Kalima,
the brains get
Saturday.
eaten. The monkeys' brains get eaten in
Wait.
Temple of Doom, which
Yeah.
is inferior.
honestly, the monkey is the main star of that whole franchise.
Yeah, it really nails it.
Well,
You know?
I like Short Round.
It's a hell of a film for those two. Anyway, so after a month in the Siskiyous, he shows up back at the camp, and this is what the reporter writes. He writes, he was a bronze, soot-blackened figure, clothed in deerskin, his flesh scarred, his hair matted, his beard half-grown, his eyes dazed, his legs almost too weary to carry him another step. But then he drinks some water, and within no time, he's like picking up a 150-pound man and throwing him over his shoulder, and everything is back to normal.
No way.
Yeah, and so he comes out of the woods kind of dazed and weary, but it seems like he did it. And again, he caught a deer
Yeah.
and killed
Hated
it.
his wife.
And he again
Not in
apologizes.
English.
Like he did after the first thing, he apologizes. He says, "I wish I didn't have to kill it, but I did."
Did you get a license this time? Did you get the tag?
I don't think you needed one in California then.
At that
So-
time, no. You could fucking skin a grizzly bear, turn it into a house.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody's like, it's all good, man. We don't care, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
And then we also turn into iced tea.
like, no, but like, like fucking like NorCal people are just like, dude, it's the fucking frontier, dude. It's like, you gotta do what you gotta do.
If you want to smoke meth out of a light bulb in a trailer, you could do that too. It's just your God-given
It's
right.
just like, as long as you don't kill any Ewoks or nothing.
Yeah, dude, as
like,
long as it's fucking fair trade almond and shit, like you're not wasting water by making almond milk, like, bro, you can fucking skin a deer. I don't give a fuck.
So he showed back up at camp.
Just don't use any sort of like hateful kind of like hate speech.
In no time, he was.
But also, if you want to do that too, it's cool.
In no time, he was back in normal shape. Just after he drank some water and he got his spirit back, he was throwing a 150-pound man around. At one point, he played a racist ditty on a fiddle.
Ooh. Yeah.
And
Do you have the lyrics? Or?
I have the title. I'm not going to say it. And everybody later was like, "Where did that fiddle come from? We didn't have. Did we have a fiddle? No one can remember where the fiddle came from. So it was a hell of a time when he got back.
I made it out of a sequoia.
Where do you think those deer antlers went?
So after he gets back and after they settle, he brings then a film crew. He brings a film crew. Now they got film, right? He brings a film crew out to where his house was. It's this lean-to, on a mountain next to this clear stream. And they look at his house. He has jerked venison. He's got smoked fish.
He jerked.
Yeah,
Oh God.
yeah. He's got
love it.
berries. He shows them. He has this large flat rock fireplace with a stone that he would cook on. He shows them how he would boil water in cups that he made out of bark, and then in front of the cameras there, he takes a trident he made. He spears a fish, and he cooks it on
Fuck
the
out of
fire.
here, really?
He's living the fucking dream.
Yeah. Well, and I think you have to imagine the first one might have been faked, and this one he's actually doing it. Like the confidence he probably felt of actually doing it
Yeah.
was
Well, and also knowing that like, there's a fucking couple people like a mile away if anything goes sideways.
sure.
Like, yeah, I'm gonna make a water wheel and it's gonna power this thing, and I'll make ice like Doc Brown in 1885.
Yeah.
But in a month, even to
Yeah, it's great. I think this guy was a time
I
traveler.
mean, to get a fish with a Poseidon, like
A fish with a Poseidon. If you've been doing it your whole life, catching a fish with a Poseidon is not hard.
it's
Especially before they've all been overfished.
He's
They're
caught,
fucking
I mean,
everywhere.
he would catch him with his hands for people. So
Yeah.
it's like he's
and then he would fuck him.
yeah. They,
So
I mean,
gross.
listen, this guy. I mean, this
For
guy's
who?
got the nut lust. You
And
know?
so the lean-to means like it's like just a bunch of palm fronds leaned up on a fucking mountainside, basically.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's not necessarily just. It's like it's a big lean-to.
Oh, it's deluxe now.
yeah, it is.
It's a
still
big
up.
lean-to. Like he has smoked deer in there.
He smoked.
He smoked a deer.
I smoked out this deer last night.
He's got jerk venison.
Yeah.
He jerked the
Or
fuck.
jerk. He has jerk deer. He's got smoked fish.
It's also jerk. It's like jerk CNN. Spicy as fuck. Ghost pepper.
Gives this deer this fucking Jägermeister was all fucked up. Legless.
This
Legless.
deer was a real asshole, but now it's a jerk.
So sadly for him, this one,
Irie.
this despite even having like the crew there, this one wasn't as big news because World War I had pushed him off the front page.
Pretty big news. Yeah. And
And
the fucking Spanish flu.
Stuart Holbrook, the writer who I've brought a few things from, like the dumbest criminals in the West and stuff.
Oh, the Ketchum brothers.
I
Love
think it
those
was
guys.
Number one answer.
Oh no, it was the dumbest. Anyway, the bank
They're
robbers.
pretty dumb.
Anyway, a couple of the guy who was like the preeminent reporter of the Pacific Northwest. He writes in 36 where he interviews Joe Knowles, and he writes his article about Knowles that brought it to me, and he writes, "It was a hell of a note for Joe Knowles. The naked, thorough news went to the back pages next to the classified ads, and many a Californian doesn't know to this day whether Joe Knowles ever got out of the woods."
Damn.
Well, now he lives on Backpage,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
which is the modern day wood.
Now he's a naked maid. One.
One to know, but topless maids.
But the good news is like he's even after he gets out of this, he makes the rounds. He's doing speeches. He's doing events. They make a movie out of his exploits called Alone in the Wilderness.
Nice.
And he starts to think that like, oh, Hollywood,
Hey.
you know, I'm a guy who can do stuff. Hollywood's the thing.
I'm available.
It's a different type of woods, brother.
And he even writes a movie. And the idea for the movie was that he would live on an island and do what he was doing, but they would film it and then use that for the movie.
A
So, like,
reality show.
So basically a reality show where him living on an island, figuring it out, but they would cut it in a way to make it into a movie.
Survival.
Yeah.
His name would be Gilligan, and this would be his island.
no one ever makes that movie. But in 1916, the Hearst Corporation, they have a new idea. And they say, well, you're kind of like Adam going into the woods. You know what you need?
Eve.
You need
No.
an Eve.
No.
And
Return of the Blue Lagoon
Let's spice
with
it up.
Brooke Shields.
Yeah.
Spice it up with some sex.
Blue
Yeah.
Lagoon.
well, not quite Blue Lagoon, but yeah.
Oh, because they send a guy.
It's Adam and Steve.
Yes.
The Blue Lagoons.
Oh my god.
Oh my
So,
god.
so
Oh my god.
oh my God.
The Blue Lagoons.
It's French.
I was thinking,
Oh my god.
I prefer the company of women myself. I guess we'll fuck these trees.
Tell us what happened. What happened?
So in 1916, the Hearst Corporation, they have this idea,
And 65 years later, they do Blue Lagoon with
Yeah.
Brooke Shields.
but they put out all of these. They supposedly they hold this giant competition to find the Eve, and somehow out of this giant competition, the woman they choose is 20-year-old actor Elaine Hammerstein, the daughter
Rogers and Hammer.
of
No.
the niece
No.
of the Hammerstein from Rogers and Hammerstein.
She's-
She might
Oscar
be
Hammer.
fucking hot. And
She
Eve was a
is. She's
Jew?
she is what?
Eve was. I mean.
Oh, right.
Jew?
Okay, sure.
Right. We all were.
I
Essentially.
don't know if that was part of the process, but
Hammerstein.
Oh.
so she's already she's a Broadway actor. She's 20. She's been in some stuff.
And she's a good-looking lady.
Buxom.
She has that look at that time that made you say, "Hey, there's a
Oh, wow.
She's foidal.
there's a lady." Yeah,
If you believe
In
in Eve
if you believe in gender, which we don't.
or gender.
Right.
you know.
So the whole plan for the Hearst organization is that they have the newspapers, and they also have this Hearst International Film Service, which does those like weekly
Yeah.
today in history
Propaganda.
before the
Captain America punch Hitler in the cheek.
so they're gonna do
And then fuck them.
they're gonna do like film everything that's going on. Scantily clad lady, only with natural clothing, right? And then before all of the movies,
G-strings.
right? Yeah, I assume
mentioned?
she's wearing some sort of bikini thing.
Jock
but-
strap, like you called it.
Leotard.
I
So-
can't wait for to see Eve in a fucking bike sportswear jock strap.
Yeah. Here's this 40-year-old man.
White cotton and elastic.
And he wasn't a
Piss stains.
he wasn't a terrible looking fella.
No, not a bad-looking guy.
I mean, especially after he came out of the woods,
Right, not a bad-looking guy.
real hot.
I mean,
He just
put
lost
on
30 pounds. That's the thing. Like the whole first story is like he lost 30 pounds, but also he was just sitting in a cabin all day. So I'm not saying he probably was. It wasn't as real as he said it was, but I don't think he
chopping wood's
completely
good
faked
exercise.
It.
You
It's
know?
true.
So
Got to chop it up.
But so the plan for this one is they go into the Adirondacks in New York, but it's also like it's mid-September in the Adirondacks. Elaine Hammerstein's a 20-year-old actress, no experience in the woods,
nubile, buxom.
and no,
She's not nubile or buxom. Svelte.
no, there are cameras.
She's svelte. Nubile. Still.
The Evening Journal, I don't know which Evening Journal, but the Evening Journal described her as, quote, a girl who has been reared in the warmth of luxury, a city girl born and bred with the ideals and the mind of a child of creature comfort.
Born and bred.
The pretty, softly cultivated daughter of Arthur Hammerstein of New York. So it was not a praising, not a lot of nice things to say.
It's just sexism.
And it starts out fine. Knowles, under his direction, she builds a shelter, and he weaves her some leggings and a grass skirt. And, of course, the papers.
He whittles her a butt plug.
Yeah, the papers love it.
Or something.
So he bakes her a grass skirt, and
What about the wooden butt plug? Though?
they don't mention it in the Evening Journal, but
It's unmentionable.
the Evening Journal does say after she had that skirt on and she was walking around,
Transitioning?
Trouncing around.
trouncing around.
She transitioned?
They say the Evening Journal says the Beavers saw a sight which they can hand down to the descendants as the most surprising thing that ever happened in their family history. A beautiful brown-haired, blue-eyed young girl clad in a gown of plaited grass with bushkins of the same material marched out upon the structure of their logs and sticks and mud. She was trying to find a way across the rushing water, brown from the tamarack swamp, poured over the logs. Her bare shoulders gleamed in the autumn sun, and her bare knees peeped through the crevices of her skirt. Bare knees of swordgrass and blue flag. The Beavers certainly never saw a sight like this.
Okay, so what's the deal here? Like, it's just selling sex.
Yeah, and then she stubbed her toe and she got stuck in mud. And after that, she was like, "I don't really,
That's enough
I don't
of
really want to
this.
do this anymore."
Me and my beaver, we're out of here.
Yeah,
Done with the woods.
yeah. So they did their best to like build it up into a thing, and she really wasn't feeling it.
Yeah, well, you know, she's a Hammerstein.
Yeah,
I feel the longing of Hollywood. You know, sorry,
right. Yeah,
Call me crazy.
not the mud of the Adirondacks.
not the Adirondacks.
And they thought, well, maybe she's just the wrong girl or whatever. But
It could just be her whole entire gender.
well, so Stuart Holbrook writing.
I mean, just to play.
Stuart Holbrook writing about it, he writes, she couldn't take it. With the Dawn woman back in her sissy boudoir, there wasn't any use of sticking around. So Joe came out of the woods himself and put on his pants.
Dude, a sissy boudoir? That's
Dude.
what I call John's room.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Go
is,
back up there in your sissy boudoir
it is good
and
writing.
play your bitch ass whistle until I call you down and put on your jockstrap G-string and come goose my lord.
I'm putting back on my grass pants.
That's right. Your beaver has been unsatisfied until of late.
And so that was the end of the Adam and Eve, the Dawn woman and Dawn man. And that's the last time that Joseph Knowles lived strictly in the woods.
Well, this is why you know it's Adam and Steve.
Yes.
Because then what?
They would have got a lot more done.
Where do you end up?
So he still gives the occasional speech, and he encourages kids to learn.
To this day.
He learned to survive in the wilderness.
Yeah.
He tells him not to survive, not just survive, but understand the wilderness. And he says, the more you know of nature, the more you'll know of true living. The Boy Scouts, which were founded around 1910, they would grow in size. And by 1939, they're giving their members a copy of his book, Alone in the Wilderness.
Oh, shit.
And he would try to get more work in Hollywood, but it never really came. And so he settled down in Ilwaco, Washington, which is the final point of Lewis and Clark's journey. It is at the southwesternmost point of Washington.
Yes.
Right on the coast there. And he builds himself a house right by the ocean. Writer Peggy Lucas said it was made out of, quote, American flotsam.
Uh-huh.
And it's basically
And
like
beer cans.
it was driftwood and shit he found around. He built a house and
Not much going on here.
and he started painting. And him and his wife, they were, he had a wife by then. He started painting more, and he lived with his wife and another woman, and then another woman too at the same
Good
time.
God, really?
And
Well, he was a mountain man, and it's hard to resist that.
The
sort
kinkiest shit of all time.
it sounded,
You could say
But
that.
also, one of these women was a really good painter, and when he gets back into painting, and he was for the rest of his life, he was pretty consistently commissioned as a painter, and she would paint some of his stuff for him. At one point,
She would paint it for him, and he would collect the check.
because like,
Nice.
no,
How does
but
that make you feel about gender
she,
roles,
she would get it too. She lived there. At one point,
she would get
Longview, Washington's Hotel Monticello, he painted over 40 portraits for it, and she definitely painted some of them.
Really?
Yeah,
And
and
she got credit.
yeah, I mean, she
I
does.
hope
She
so.
does in the book.
Well, that's all that matters.
This is
Yeah.
George Washington as a fish.
With a dick in his mouth.
Notice the wood teeth and the wig.
It looks like a female painted this. I think that's a clit.
Now you'll notice that the salmon is swimming upstream, and the seaman is swimming downstream.
Perhaps you didn't catch that. Come back for the audio tour.
But
Dumb motherfucker.
he's kind of renowned, especially back then, for his his nature scenes. He's a very self-taught, but he learned, studied other
So
painters.
shit.
And so he still has those paintings up, and the Hotel Monticello is still there. He also painted window scenes of Venice, Italy, for the Liberty Theater in Astoria, in Oregon. And if you're sitting in the theater, the walls of it are painted like you're looking out onto your
San
canal in
Marcos.
Venice.
Oh,
Sure,
that's
yeah.
lovely. That's
So it all
lovely.
smells like shit. Flooded.
yeah.
Water's green.
You're ruining it for me.
Go to Amsterdam. Same shit. Better.
But he wasn't forgotten. At one point, when he was cashing one of his checks, he didn't have an ID, so he was in a bank and he made a fire with 2 sticks. And they cashed.
that's
They
the
cashed
guy.
his check. Yes.
All right, sir. Just this one time. Please put the fire out.
Empty the vault.
Don't worry, my jungle friends. It's all insured.
And
This guy's proof of purchase is out of hand.
This guy knew the FDIC banking requirements of their holdings. He knew they only had to have 10% of what they had out on the street. I mean, this motherfucking slick is no joke. These were only put into place after FDR had saved the economy from the Great Depression. I mean, this guy knows his history and his economic theory. I mean, this guy's a straight up Keynesian economicist.
What you reading about?
Oh, we got Matt laughing at Keynesian shit.
Keynesian shit?
Yeah, man.
I'm
Candy
trying
canes.
to find the name of the female painter. She
Some would just call her a painter.
she
That's a great point. If you believe in gender, which I don't.
But I have faith.
So, but anyway, so he lived out there and he painted. He never really did the writing he had always planned to do. He was kind of
Sounds like most writers I know.
yeah.
I still don't really speak the language.
I got busy out here in the wilderness doing nothing.
Nah, but what I can do is I can put together a sketch of a guy fucking a fish real quick. But words I don't get. Okay?
And
I'm a frontiersman.
And so eventually she ran off with some guy, and they could never get back in touch with him and his wife. But in 1942, facing the sea, oddly enough, the man who spent so much time in the woods, he died in 1942 there in Ilwaco, Washington, and he was buried eventually with his wife. But
What, he fell in?
what?
Well, no, she eventually was buried with him.
Yeah,
Is what he means.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
It wasn't this Egyptian pharaoh shit like, oh, well, he's dead now, you, the cat, and everybody's got to go.
No, I know, but you were saying that like fucking like
Once he died, and then years later she did.
yeah.
And then she was buried next to his dead body.
Yeah,
Which is
and,
nice.
and for
Which is
some
not
reason,
part of the green.
they didn't add Nature Man on his tombstone, even though they should have.
I think they retroactively smoothed out his gravestone because of the Ric
was
Flair.
like-
The Ric Flair estate
he was
had
like,
copyright claim to that intellectual property.
I don't even need to say Nature Man. Everybody knows who
Everybody
I
fucking
am.
knows who I is.
Man, I don't even need to say Nate.
I'm Joe Knowles, man.
You do the math.
Figure it out.
I'll pay fucking hunting tags and shit, man. I'm done with shit.
But yeah, if you are near the Hotel Monticello in Washington or the Ilwaco Museum in Ilwaco, Washington, for some reason, some of his paintings are still up there, and
They
you can see
good?
pictures of him. Yeah, they're good. They're like, it's not changing the world, but these are very nice paintings.
Well, I think there's something to be said for
Man-loving fish. His
Fish
masterpiece.
Sucks Man. News at 11.
Man convinces fish sperm is water.
All hell breaks loose. You know what? Nice art is nice.
It's
Yeah.
very nice.
Sometimes groundbreaking art is dog shit
Good point.
because it's breaking the ground, which should not break.
Yeah, he very much did not like the paintings of Chicago Picasso.
Makes sense.
yeah.
A lot of people didn't.
I mean, this guy,
There's a reason-
this naturalist.
Picasso.
Yeah,
There's,
Leonardo da Vinci.
there's a very legitimate criticism of modern art.
yes.
Sure, yeah.
And you know what? Being an average, nice artist is all right with me, man.
I mean,
If you're Bob Ross, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Bob Ross isn't fucking changing all sorts of weird. But you know what?
But
It's fucking nice.
the
I'll
criticism
tell you that.
of any art is no, it sucks because it's so subjective. But I would agree with you that modern art can be cheap and lazy.
And you can just be like, oh man, here's like hammered nails into a piece of wood, and that's art.
Yeah, I'm not actually trying to recreate anything.
Yeah.
It is a lesser form.
It can be a lesser form, yes.
It can be a lesser form.
So the other painter was Edith Henry, and I don't think anyone knows her name either, but she
Well,
deserves
they do
credit.
now.
She deserves credit for doing a bunch of those paintings
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because he didn't have time to. But also, she was a very talented artist too. So,
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
and he did etchings, and he did all kinds.
And
of
she
stuff.
would just illustrate all of the fish fucking. And
Well, she knew the fish better than he.
you know what I really like is her piece "Who Caught Who."
Yeah. It's like a rescue dog.
Yeah.
But a herpes fish.
Who caught
Right,
who?
right. Landlocked,
Herpes.
landlocked,
Yeah.
eyes locked.
Who hooked who?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who laid the trap for
Yeah.
who?
But it's Aaron, as you mentioned earlier, that type of thing that he was doing is a thing that is still happening. Survivor Man, and then even the fake shit with Bear Grylls too, like that
Yeah.
sort of person
Teach a
in
fish to
nature
man.
doing some shit.
Well,
Yeah, like, he's hopping over a fucking... No,
He's drinking piss.
well, that he
Yeah, and that's-
was
that's
drinking
cool.
his piss, and that's probably the best part.
Yeah,
But
Well-
but Les Stroud's the real deal.
yeah. Les Stroud.
Les Stroud, Survivor Man is the shit.
former music producer.
I would.
Yeah.
music video
And
producer.
Bigfoot enthusiast as of late.
Oh, well, that-
Well,
As
probably
of
had a
late-
swollen foot.
Well, as of late, the guy's like, yeah, man, fucking every time I go out, the more and more I believe there's Bigfoot.
No way.
And he's just out there for 7 to 14 days on his own. There's
well,
no
because he's
camera crew.
desperate. He's desperate for.
There
a
is
Bigfoot.
He's probably starving for 10 of those
Yeah.
days. And he's out there alone. and he puts like if he wants to get an establishing shot of him climbing a hill, he's gonna be like, all right, well,
walk up the
I gotta
fuck up
fucking
there.
put the thing there.
Now I
And you
gotta
gotta
go
walk
fucking
it up
thing and,
and then go get it, and then it's like, yeah, well, there's that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Got it.
Survivor Man is the shit, or at least it was. I don't know if it's still
The thing,
It was pretty
plays a
fast.
mean harmonica.
Yeah.
my old employer would have on his desk was a Thoreau quote, which
Most men live lives of quiet desperation.
no, it was I know of no more reassuring fact than the ability of man to improve his condition by conscious endeavor.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I was just like, oh god, like what would be more crystallized also in like a survival fashion too, like of just being like, if I can do this, I can get fed.
Yeah. And then the caveat to that would be at the expense of nature.
Well, but depending, because then, the longer you are with it, you would realize it is kind of a give and take, right?
Certainly.
So, that's kind of the thing too, is that, you, at first it's about challenging yourself, and then afterward it's about saying,
Restraining yourself.
it's about restraining yourself and not causing problems where there is none,
Right.
that sort of thing, treading lightly.
Or yeah, and not killing the goose is laying the golden egg for you.
Yes, because it's all the
Yeah.
golden goose.
Yeah,
The whole thing is a golden goose.
So
that
thing.
farmer.
Try not to kill it.
That farmer's just
Yeah.
not a good farmer, man.
Yeah, I mean, should be a hunter gatherer. If you
Yeah.
knew it was good for him.
But the thing of like, I think that idea is just about escaping fear
Which idea?
of reassuring fact of ability of humans to improve their condition by conscious endeavor. Like, just if you try to have a better life, you will. Because when you let anxiety and like all these other things creep in, it's telling you like, you're fucked. It's like all that thing like I was saying about like the people in the city fearing the wild. The whole point is to go and actually be like, oh no, I'm fine no matter what. I will be okay.
Yeah, there is there's like, in the same way there's that we just mentioned of like improving your station but without just killing the golden goose.
Of course.
I also have no greater belief. I have like what's the quote that he said?
I know of no more reassuring fact than the ability of man to improve his life by conscious endeavor.
I would put a lot of credence into the mirror
Subconscious.
of no. I have no more. I am incredibly confident of man's ability to fuck his own shit up by conscious endeavor.
By conscious, not
Yeah.
subconscious.
Yeah,
They're both pretty,
or I mean,
as a
conscious or subconscious.
as a positive negative.
I am very confident in man's ability to fuck their own shit up.
I would,
Shitting in the river that people drink out of, or
but then it becomes an argument over conscious. Right?
conscious or subconscious, right? Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
That's kind of the
But
thing.
I am very confident in man's ability to
Yeah, I totally
fuck
agree
up
with
their own shit.
Without a doubt.
But also, on the other hand, I'm very confident in our ability to at least try to improve our lot in life.
Yes, I mean just in a not trying to bum everybody out fashion, but
Yeah.
the idea of the insects are less since the 70s, and it's not just bees. Like bees get all the hype.
All insects.
It's insects.
Yeah.
And like that is us kind of banging our head up against a wall that like we're not gonna come back from,
right?
If we don't fix it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's just it's one of those things where you go like
You gotta have bees,
yeah.
Gotta have bugs.
and you gotta have like you gotta have bats,
Badgers,
and you gotta have
raccoons,
mosquitoes,
even the whole
centipedes,
gang,
millipedes.
gang.
I mean, these logs aren't gonna goose themselves.
Yeah.
I know.
Once the goose and log goes,
That's the end.
Man, that's a real fucking bummer.
No, but it is
It is not a bummer. Here's what it is. It is
a challenge.
It's a challenge, and we should all appreciate the complex majesty of the ecosystem of the planet Earth, and we should not get too big for our britches.
Yeah.
And we should not get too whistle for our
Okay. Right.
Pennies.
Nice.
That's right.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, it's it's a very delicate dance that we play, and I am very confident that human beings will continue to walk the razor's edge.
Yes,
the whole way down
until they desperately need to not.
Yeah, or maybe it's a balancing act the whole way.
Well, then again, when fucking Elon and Jeff Bezos are going to space, then
isn't it going to be great when Jeff Bezos and his brother die in that rocket?
It's gonna be just such a relief.
Do you think it'll be an elaborate hoax that'll end up being like a tax boondoggle for them?
Yeah, like they were in the main
like,
woods.
We're citizens of Mars now, bitches.
They were
and we left our estates to ourselves on Mars.
They forgot to tell us their real name was Luther.
Yeah.
Lex. And also
Lex.
Lionel.
Hell yeah, deep cut.
Lex and Lionel Luther.
Yeah. He's not only my brother, he's my father. It's a Chinatown of Martian proportion.
But yeah, no, I think there's a thing there where, like, yeah, well, shit will seem like really fucking hippy dippy or whatever, but like just like in this like fucking like the mushroom doc I did last night, so it's heavy in the mind. But there's like these people like going like, hey, like, yo, for real, we don't know what these different strains actually do in like very serious ways. And meanwhile, we have all of this interpreted, civilization type data, and we're not actually looking at just what is in the ground seriously. And it's like, that's a really good point. The nonsense that we've made up since, civilization and the Roman Empire, like, fascinating,
It's not nonsense. It's the language that we speak.
It
right?
is.
It's easier for us to understand because we created it.
Right.
I wouldn't say it's nonsense.
No, it is not nonsense, but it comparatively, you could say, think about what's around you, figure out what's going on.
Look around you.
Look at the other people. Try to be like them.
See if you can fashion some sort of rudimentary lathe. Yeah, that's the thing is that, it wasn't until very recently that we discovered or we really decided or understood that fungus are not plants.
Right.
They don't photosynthesize. They breathe oxygen.
Yes.
They breathe oxygen, exhale carbon dioxide.
Right.
They share a hive mind.
Or just the ambition for space exploration and not ocean exploration.
It's harder.
It is.
The final frontier is not space. The final frontier is ocean. There are no permanent bases in the ocean.
Right.
We've had a number of permanent bases in space.
Yeah.
That's a trip, right? I don't know how we got to that part of the conversation, but I like it.
Yeah.
How do we get to that?
Nature.
Oh, nature. Nature is, well, it's all nature.
Yes.
And we put up arbitrary lines of defining what is this part of nature or what isn't.
Yeah.
But like you said, I think kind of what you were getting to in that last statement was that if you seek his monument, look around you.
Yes.
That's from Zack Snyder's Man of Steel.
And also, do you not think you're going to tame it? It's been around longer than you.
Yeah, there's no taming it.
Yes.
Are you saying we haven't tamed Everest?
It is a fucking...
There's shit everywhere.
There's, there's a kingdom going on that will exist long after you.
Right.
And has long before you. So, having this, like, idiotic notion that you're going to be like, oh, I'm going to fucking,
Ants will inherit the earth. Let's be real. Like,
yeah. It's just, reducing ego and actually being like, just for sheer curiosity's sake.
Yeah, we've never tried that, have we?
Just being like, okay, what the fuck is going on here? Like,
well, certain people have, and certain people have approached.
They still do
it with humility, and it's just that after those people do it, the exploitative nature of humanity rears its ugly head, and it's how do we make money out of it, right?
Yeah.
And maybe that's part of it too.
Maybe
that's just part of the the algorithm.
Or just the general, I don't want to wear a mask. He just, I mean, it's just, there's...
I don't know where that came from. I mean, I
no, but
it's just,
it's just this...
I don't get all the mushroom spores if I wear the mask.
There is a
You wear the mask to protect the spores you love.
Is it any coincidence that the Bitcoin conference had an outbreak of COVID? All of the people... The Bitcoin
It was
conference...
in Florida.
Yeah, but is it any coincidence that, like...
No, it was in Florida.
It was a perfect storm of people who do not...
Yeah.
Who are pretty selfish about their ideas? I mean, I think that, that's what you're talking about reminds me of. Like, can humans save themselves? Is it possible for enough people?
Are you waiting for a Messiah?
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, we can all do our part, but there's still going to be this destructive nature that just does not give a shit about anything else other than the thing that happened in front of their head 20 seconds ago.
Yeah, and that's just because people are very.
The Bezos.
We differ.
Yeah. And you can't be mad at, something if it's like beyond
No, I mean, I'm not mad at it.
a
It's
certain
just,
amount of
it's
reason.
just like,
because
well,
there's
it's just...
I mean, listen. I would say that the central banking system is far more destructive than Bitcoin enthusiasts.
Oh, absolutely. But it's just that mentality of like, showed up at a conference. No one has masks on.
Mm.
It's also in Florida.
Yes, it's just a perfect. So,
And Doges don't get COVID.
It's true.
Doges are
That's right.
immunes. You know what I mean?
Richard Park says that Dogecoin is still just a meme thing and you shouldn't put money into it unless you're ready to lose it.
It's
He's
true.
right. Unless
It's
you
right.
put money into it a while ago. And
I just hate it when he talks, though.
Dogs
No,
or Richard?
Well, Richard is kind of a meme thing.
Yeah.
No,
And if you
Richard
put money-
Park is a good man.
He's a good man.
If you put money into Richard,
You're gonna get it back in spades.
No, I love Richard.
he's a wonderful.
Yeah, don't put
Richard
money in.
is a wonderful-
Now is not the time to put money in Dogecoin. The time to put money in Dogecoin was a couple,
Yeah.
2, 3, 4 years ago. But
when they sent the capsule to the moon.
or
for
as
Dogecoin.
soon as a few months,
When
as
when
recent as a
Captain
few months
America
ago.
buried it in the moon.
I mean, now's a good time to buy crypto in general.
Mm.
It's in a big dip, and it's only going to go up.
Oh,
so,
I got a big
Let it, bottom out like Matt does so often.
I got a big dip to bottom
Let it
out. at.
bottom out so hard before you fucking invest your seed.
All right, let's not go to crypto. Let's.
I got a
wrap it
penny
up
whistle
here.
for you.
Matt, that was a fine ass.
I thought you might enjoy
love
that.
the nature
I
boy.
thought you might enjoy that. Nature man.
I really like.
Well,
Ric Flair's the nature boy.
I don't. Age is also a construct.
Yeah.
Oppressive construct.
Yeah, I really liked. How much iced had to set aside.
Yeah, I bet you
Yeah,
did.
very
I bet you
grandiloquent.
did.
The land is fertile.
This man's a phony.
You have to get away from these cities and all that.
Sometimes
shit.
you have to think about it in a new light, like
He's not
this
wearing-
light or that light. Daylight, motherfucker.
He's not wearing nothing but a G-string.
The dingleberries will
Nothing.
provide.
Nothing but a G-string. Nothing to do with iced tea, but I get the
No,
reference
yeah.
and I love it.
Like a lot.
Ain't nothing but a G-string baby. Ain't nothing but a G-string baby. Oh, there's all that whole.
Petaluma.
Let's get out of town. Matt, a fine job.
Thank you.
I really like getting.
Man, a thorough job.
I like getting back to the land with you. Boys.
Yeah, you too.
I love returning myself to nature.
I'm gonna say goodnight. My name is John Fahey.
And I'm Aaron Pita.
Matt Rousseau.
Good night, everybody. We love you.
Starburns Audio.